Pop on live. Get it crack-a-lackin'. Love to see that the Focus video is doing well. Hopefully it continues to do well over the night and through into the weekend. Let's see, that's good there. Let's copy and paste this right quick over here in the Discord. Kickoff time. See if long shot is up yet. No. How much do you want to bet they want to go live like at the top of the hour? I bet you. I'd almost be willing to bet. So tonight's A versus B chat. A lot of really good teams tonight. We got Buriram, DEWA United. Who's their third now? SJW. I wonder if he's on an academy or team or something. That name doesn't sound familiar. But you got ONIC, Ironblood Gaming, HRMGRD, ADL Wolves. Fate's pretty solid. Golden Sage, MDY White, Moist. Yeah. It's gonna be a good lobby, chat. It's gonna be a good lobby. Excited, man. Promises to be a banger. Like I said, if I had to guess, they're going to be going live with the main broadcast here in just a moment. So starting next week, we got double headers. Luckily, they are off for the week of Easter. I will not be around. Tomorrow we've got South America starts at 10. EU starts at 1. Then NA's at 6. And then your boy's going to pass the F out. Confirmed. And then we're back at it again in the morning with EU. That starts at 2 tomorrow. 2 and 7 tomorrow, right? Yeah. So tomorrow, as soon as NA is done, I will be passing out. But we get to wake up at a decent hour. Like, it's not gonna be too crazy. Good to see that Stream Elements bot decided to show up. What up, homie? I do very much look forward to our lobby today, chat. I hope y'all do as well. inside the ring is it's got Ziki and I'm trying to remember where did Nuku and Elias play at? I know both of those names sound familiar. Pull up Liquid PD on this other page here real quick, chat. And I believe in this lobby as well, we have the old oh no, the old EXO duo that's still left together is in Group C, right? I believe. Yeah, Tom Young Kung. But X and Y is pretty solid. LG Gaming. Let's go. The pretty solid Chinese squad. Got 3 Chinese teams actually in this group here, or in this lobby here, I should say. Golden Sage, MDY White. It is still on long shot, right? Yeah, it's still on long shot. It's about to go live. I was gonna say, I thought that's who I saw the promo under earlier today. Do we want to peek in and see what Wig's saying?
The song at all. Oh shit, let's go. I'm so hyped for ALGS, baby.
Dude, ALGS is so dope,
pumped,
bro.
Thank you guys for being here, chat. Oh, and we got South America and EMEA tomorrow. Oh my, what a day to have a day. Bro,
and tomorrow
where is this stream?
and NA.
Are we just not streaming it today, or what's up?
Dude, are we just not? Yo.
What's going on? Yeah, they have 2. There are 1 person streaming out of all the way back south. That's going to be chalked. We're going to stick to long shot. Long shot, where are we at, baby? Maybe a little delay for the boys? No idea.
Probably a little delay for the boys.
Is Greek going to be watch partying at NA tomorrow? No. Greek is also going to the awards. So, you guys are fucked out of luck, man, for watch parties tomorrow. Only NA, though. I am watch partying South America and EMEA tomorrow. Don't forget, our schedule is about to be fucking crazy, man.
All right. Well, anyways. Don't need to listen to his schedule because we're actually doing the same shit over here. But hopefully we'll actually get like the clean feed over here for South America, which would be dope. So we could do more of like an actual like clean feed casting. Be the official English cast for South America. Thoughts? Would kind of be cool. Yo, but for real, where is Longshot at? Can we, I'm gonna pop this out real quick. Where's the fucking high? There it is. Leave this open for when it goes live. Does it just stay like that until the video starts, basically? Is that the dealio? Is that the way things work here? Chat, give me just a second here. Did we get a start? We lost? Do we make a wrong turn in Albuquerque? Okay. First week, chat. Working out with the kinks. Everything's fine. I just dipped my pinky in my water. I don't want to talk about it. Where is in this channel? There is. I bet you I didn't use it for long enough and I got deleted. It's fine. Bum, 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 bum. Still no long shot. I wonder if they're waiting too. No.
Well, we've got Tom Yum Kun, but they're not out here today. That is the former EXO clan, so that's a spicy noodle soup for you. Popcorn as well.
We just recently chatted with him over here.
I'm eating them. I mean, two of our best teams out here. Team Burger, Chicken Sandwich, former food team names. I know, we're going to see what we can... Let's see. But yeah, DEWA looking a bit different now with Lahim, Bastion, Kisan's obviously Easy Flash moving to PK. Buriram now got Lalabang, Gopgap, and Aflo joining.
Wait, so why is this different?
Breaking up. They've all moved on.
Wait, why is...
Well, Chambers didn't, unfortunately. But I think it's more he's gone a bit more casual.
Wait,
Zoo, thank you for the follow.
Where is he watching?
Cat, thank you for the follow. Oop. And Rex won candy earlier. Yeah, we're locked in. Which teams do you think will win out? Win out today? Like I said, Moist. I think
it's this one, right?
นิดนึงนะติดตามทุกวันเลยถ้าใครที่
Okay.
ใช้วันแรกไปแล้ววันที่
ถูกต้อง
We're at least gonna hang out here, chat, until
เราจะได้ยินเสียงเหมือนว่าเกมมันจะเริ่มหรือเปล่า
ใกล้แล้วหรือเป
อ
ล่า
ยากได้ยินวันนิดนึง
we're gonna hang out over here until
เหมือนจะมาแล้ว
คุ้น
นะ
หูเหมือนตอนที่เรากดเล่นน่ะ
เดี๋ยวก็ต้องมาติดตามกันคุณผู้ชมฮะว่าในวันนี้เนี่ยในส่วนของเมตา
Until
การ
we
ใช้ตัวรีเจนต่างๆเนี่ยจะมีการเปลี่ยนไปจากตอนแชมเปี้ยนชิพ
Get the long shot
นี่ครับผมก็มาติดตาม
broadcast up.
นะครับ
ใช่ครับผม
Obviously, we're not gonna understand them, but I'm gonna like when we have the graphics up and stuff.
ซึ่งก็ตอนนี้ไม่ได้มาใหม่แค่ตัวละครแต่ว่า
I just wanted to have something up here. You know what I
เรีย
mean?
กว่าคลาสต่างๆของตัวละครใหม่
I'm cool with this. We can
ที่
vibe.
เอาเข้ามาใช้ในการแข่งขันด้วยนะครับ
ใช่แล้วครับเดี๋ยวรอติดตามเลยคุณผู้ชมฮะวันนี้คิดว่าน่าจะมีอะไรหลายๆอย่างที่
My guy rocking a quadcast.
บ้างไม่มากก็น้อย
Looks like in the background.
เมตาเซอร์ไพรส์หรือเปล่าหรือ
ถูกต้
ว่า
อง
ปืนใหม่จะมาแบบเซอร์ไพรส์เลย
อาจจะแบบว่าเอาเนเมซิสมาไล่ยิงกันแบบทั้งแมปเลยก็ว่า ก็ว่ากันไปเนาะนะฮะ
เอาจริงๆมันเป็นปืนที่ดีแต่ว่าก็แอบเล่นยากอยู่เหมือนกันนะครับเพราะว่าต้องชาร์จจังหวะของมันให้เร็วขึ้นครับ
ใช่ถูกต้องแล้วเลยครับผมใกล้แล้วคุณผู้ชมบอกเลยว่า
How
การ
come
นี้สำคัญมากๆ
in
นะเพราะว่าหลังจากที่จบโปรลีกเนี่ยนะฮะ
like
เราต้องการแค่
other
4 ทีมเท่านั้นนะเพื่อเข้าสู่รอบเพย์ออฟนะครับเพื่อที่จะเข้าไปเก็บในส่วนของแต้ม ALGS Point นั่นเอง
It's like in other cultures.
ใกล้ขึ้นทุกทีแล้ว
เหมือนว่าคะแนนยัง
It's
ตาม
more
อยู่นะ
acceptable
ต้องเข้าให้ได้นะครับไม่งั้น
for like
ก็ตามไม่ทันแล้วเพราะว่า
ใช่แล้ว
ก็เก็บ
older coaches.
นะครับ
ถูกต้องแล้วครับผม ยังไงฝากด้วยนะฮะฝากตามเพื่อนๆด้วยนะฝากกดไลค์กดแชร์ฝากทุกช่องทางเลยนะครับผมฝากตามเพื่อนๆมาดูนะฮะอย่าพลาดเลยนะ10 สิทธิ์วันนี้จากโลก้านะครับผมย้ำกันไปด้วย
caster stuff like that
ช็อปกันให้สนั่น
Like I even noticed at DCT, like whenever the coaches come out, like the Pacific coaches were always like
มาแล้วดิ
adults compared to like some kid players. You know what I mean?
มารอบนี้ครับผมที่แบบเบอร์เอกครับเกมแรกของกรุ๊ป A เจอ
All right, chat. Well, I'm not sure what's going on with long shot, so we're gonna hang out here.
Split 2นั่นเอง
ใช่ครับเพื่อนก็บินมาสวยๆเหมือนเดิม
ถูกต้อง
ชอบมากเลยสำหรับภาพตอนแรกก่อนเข้าเกมคือแบบยานค่อยๆบินมามันจับได้ทุกมุมจริงๆนะภาพสวยหมด
ใช่แล้วโอ้โหแล้วดูไง
นี่ฮะลายนะแบบว่ากลางๆนะ
It looks like Wig caught on to the same thing I did for now.
นี่ครับผมบินลงมาทางด้านขวาล่างนะครับมาจบที่บริเวณเดอะโดมนะครับรอบนี้ฮอตโซนเนี่ยอยู่ที่เดอะทรี
It looked like we're gonna have any early
ใช่ครับ
contests.
ผมก็ถือว่ากระจายตัวไปได้ค่อนข้างทั่วอยู่เหมือนกัน
ONIC working out a harvester,
ห
huh?
น่อยดีกว่าไปอยู่แถวๆไหนกันบ้างนะครับ
อ่า
ซ้ายบนผมเห็นประมาณ2ทีม
ครับผมใช่มี
แล้วก็มีกลางๆมาหน่อย
Okay.
แต่ว่าใกล้กันมาก
I fucks with the music
โอ้ยอย่า
though.
เพิ่งเจอกันต้นเกมเลยเอาดี
I fucks with the music though,
แช
chat.
กับทางด้านบุรีรัมย์แต่อีสปอร์ตแม่
โอ้
อุ้ยเดี๋ยวคุณสังเกตเห็นอะไรไหมเมื่อสักครู่นี้เนี่ยคือ
อะไรครับ
ใกล้
Let me
กับ
know if
Inside
you
the
guys
League คือเขาลายเดียวกันหมดเลย
if the volume's too high or anything, chat.
อยู่ซ้ายบนแบบว่าไล่เลียงเข้ามาก็คือ ถ้าเกิดวิ่งเข้ามาในวงพร้อมกันโดยที่อินไซด์ริงไม่ได้ไปไหนก็คือจะเจอกันทั้ง3ทีมเลย
ใช่ถูกต้องแล้ว
ไม่คุณมองมาอีกนิดนึงคุณมองลงมาอีกนิดนึง
อ่ะ
ซ้ายล่างลงมาอีกนิดนึงเรียง
ผมเห็นอยู่
4ทีมเอาจริง
ผมเห็นอยู่ แม่อะไรมันจะใกล้กันขนาดนั้นนะจริงๆนะ
Up here in frag, I mean,
กันเพราะว่า4ทีมไทยของเราเนี่ยตั้งแต่
even surprising though,
ไล่เรียง
2 teams with
ลงมา
Skyhook.
ครับผม
ถูกต้อง
คือเป็นแถวตรงเลยอ่ะ
Anybody early pushing first game here though? I mean, I guess you can understand why.
แต่ว่าถ้าเกิดมาเจอกันเนี่ยก็แบบบอกเลยฮะว่าสนุกสนานแน่นอนสำหรับวันนี้ครับ
แต่รอบนี้วงกลางๆแหละนะอยู่ที่บริเวณฮาร์เวสเตอร์นะครับเอาล่ะมีการปะทะกันในช่วงต้นเกมครับของบุรีรัมย์เดอะสปอร์ตแม่แล้วปะทะใครหายใจหายคอไม่ค่อยออกเท่าไหร่แต่ว่าด้านหน้าเดินไปเนี่ยที่กำลังส่องอยู่เนี่ยผมว่าไม่ใช่ใครหรอกนะฮะน่าจะเป็นอินไซด์เดอะลิง
แน่นอนครับเล็งเข้าไปที่แลนด์สไลด์แบบนี้ครับผม
I think Buriram are gonna be a sleeper team this year or this split, chat.
รอบๆนะครับ
ถูกต้อง
จีครับที่พยายามมูฟน่าจะขอแยกตัวออกไปไม่สนใจเข้ามาแจมไฟครับ
I think they're gonna be a team that
เอาละแยกตัวกันไปก่อนนะนี่ครับตัดภาพมา
I
ที่
think
Inside the Ring
because the top is so stacked,
ไปในช่วงต้นกับ
a lot of people are gonna be expecting.
บุรีรัมย์ยูไนเต็ดอีสปอร์ตนะแต่ก็เหมือนจะยังไม่ได้ใส่กันสุดตัวสักเท่าไหร่ครับบุรีรัมย์เตะสปอร์ตเลือกที่จะอ้อมฮะ
ใช่ครับอันนี้เราแอบมาส่องเมตากันสักนิดนึงดูเหมือนว่าแคทเธอลิสเนี่ยจะได้รับความนิยมเหมือนกันนะ
ใช่แล้ว
มา
นะ
ใหม่อะก็ต้องขอใช้กันสักหน่อยครับอ่ะตรงนี้เริ่มเจอกันนิดหน่อยครับผมอีเทอร์นอลโฟตอนครับเริ่มเปิดยิงไปแต่ว่ายังไม่อยากจะเข้าหาครับขอรอแอดดรอปก่อน
Chat, it looks like it might be just a tad bit high in the back. Just let me know though if that's okay.
นี่ไงวาคิลี่นี่ครับ
Especially because we're
นี่
watching
ครับแล้วก็ในส่วนของเรทนั่นเองน่าสนใจเลยทีเดียวนะ
a
เลือก
non-English
เป็นตัวโรเทตมา
broadcast.
2 ตัวเลยอ่ะ
Oh, hold on. Hold on. Let him cook, chat.
I can hear you.
Okay, they're figuring it out over here, chat. It's fine. Now we want to go back to the other one, right? We definitely want to go back to the other one.
ผมแฮมล็อกครับมาแล้วฮะเข้ามือแล้ว ทุกอย่างที่วนเข้าแอร์ดรอปครับบอกเลยได้รับการบัฟมาอย่างดีครับ
ถูกต้องอุ้ยนี่ไง
ฮะ
อุ้ยแล้วเปิดแพสซิ่ง
That's
ไฟไป
tough,
ครับ
bro.
เอายังไงถอยไม่ถอยอะสำหรับทางด้านโวซี่ครับจากมอยสปอร์ตสองเข้าไปด้านหน้ายิงกดไปก่อนโอ้โหแต่ว่าโดนสวนมาเหมือนกันครับทำให้
But
ต้องเบร
Moist
ก
gonna
จัง
be
หวะตัวเอ
falling
งกัน
back. I
ได้
mean, Moist is already in this next zone. They could technically vibe where they're at if they really wanted to. Probably should.
น่าจะขอถอยกลับ
They've already got
มา
ring
แล้วก็
information
ไม่อยากจะไปกันในตอนแรกเลยครับพุ่งขึ้นมาได้ครับมอยส์ครับ
ใช่แล้วเลยครับหลายทีมตอนนี้นี่เลือกที่จะ
Rocking the purple. By the way, looks like LG's about to go down.
เอาแล้วไงเจ็บจะจัดแล้วเรียบร้อยเลยฮะหายไปก่อน1ทีมครับสำหรับด้าน LG Gaming ครับจากทางด้าน Moist Sport ลูกนี้ชาร์จ
Yo, I like that nice little overlay where it showed the team and what position they went out
ดู
in.
กันบ้างอะว่าจะเข้าทางไหน
Hey, okay.
ตอนนี้ขอเช็คด้านหลัง
Stepping
ก่อน
it
นะ
up, I see it.
ขอบวงถัดไปแล้วนะครับ
ใช่แล้ว โอ้
So right now, Moist. I also like the standing board in the
หายแล้ว
bottom.
1ทีมเนี่ยมาแล้วไหมมีไหม
Moist got 2 of the kills. Popcorn has 1. There's always got to be
รอนะคุณผู้ชมนะถูกต้องเดี๋ยวโค้ชส่วนลดมา
freaking
เนี่ยแล้วก็
food name team in APAC
เข้ามือ
South.
มาเรียบร้อยนะครับ
ใช่ฮะแล้วโค้ชส่วนลดมาแล้วนี่สแกนเลยคุณผู้ชมฮะโลก้าเฟิร์สบัตยับ 15% นะฮะโค้ดนะครับโลก้า AD 021นะฮะรีบไปใช้กันเลยนะครับผมที่ Shopee นะครับ10 สิทธิ์เท่านั้นนะคุณผู้ชม
That looks like it's probably pretty good where it's at, right?
ครับผม
ใช่ครับผมก็เข้าไปอย่าตัดสินใจเยอะรีบใช้เดี๋ยวไม่ทัน
ถูกต้อง
แต่ถ้าเกิดใครพลาดไปก็บอกเลยคุณรีบไปเล็งไว้ก่อนเลยว่าคุณอยากได้อะไรนะครับอยากซื้ออะไร รอใส่โค้ดนะฮะแล้วพอโค้ดมาปุ๊บใส่ปั๊บรีบกดก่อนเพื่อนนะครับผมวันพรุ่งนี้ยังมี
Esports
แจก
Rage
อยู่ครับ
was
ไลฟ์สแตนดิ้งครับตอนนี้ครับมอยสปอร์ตนะฮะมีไปแล้ว2แต้มนี่ครับป๊อปคอร์นครับอีก1ทีมจากประเทศไทยนี่ครับผมเปิดตัวได้ดีเลยนะฮะ1แต้มสำหรับเกมแรกนะฮะตอนนี้เฮมล็อกแดงแรง3เท่าหรือเปล่า
ได้แฮมล็อกมาแล้วแต่ว่ายังไม่ได้ปิดไฟกับใครนะตรงนี้ บุ๊บรอบๆอยู่ครับบอกว่ายังไม่รีบครับผม
ไม่รีบนะเหมือนเขารู้อยู่แล้วด้วยแหละ
Buriram here got the gold blue
ว่า
blue gold
ก็ไม่รีบเลยครับพยายามโฮเวชั่นรอดูทีมอื่นๆก่อนแล้วแต่ว่าตัดสินใจครับผมขึ้นสกายวอร์ดไดครับไปไหนดีบินไหมไปเข้ากลาง
เข้าหา
โอ้
I'm guessing this wants to go to the other side of the zone here.
ช่วงว่างพอดีไงตอนนี้บินดูไปที่โอ้โห
Question is, where do you have space, right? D was at the bottom towards Harvester
ใคร
there.
เท่าที่ดูบุรีรัมย์ครับว่าเพลสเมนต์เนี่ยก็มีประโยชน์พอสมควรนะสำหรับการอยู่ยาวๆครับ
ถูกต้องแล้วเลยครับแล้วซึ่งเป็นเกมแรกด้วยสำคัญนะเพราะต้องยอมรับเลยว่าแต่ละทีมเนี่ยบางทีม
Skill rifle out here for Buriram
ของทีมต่างๆด้วยว่าแต่ละทีมเนี่ยไปลงตรงไหนบ้างมีลายพุกแบบไหนบ้างเนาะฉะนั้นเป็นเกมแรกก็น่าจะเล่นกันละเอียดเป็นพิเศษเลยนะครับผม
ใช่ครับผมก็คือเล่นกันให้ละเอียดไปเลย
ถูกต้องแล้วฮะเอาละครับผมวงเฟสที่2เนี่ยรอบนี้โอ้โหบีบ
All right.
But it seems like they may have been given a little bit of room here, and so they should be okay. Inside the ring is the team that they're sort of taking a bit of a look at.
And of course, this one's going to be a lot quieter. Why you do this to me?
Is dealing with Fate coming in on a rotation.
Oh, because this doesn't have game sound.
But behind Fate, they'll also have to be aware of DEWA.
Oh yeah, no, we'll go back. We're good.
Rocked up.
I'll pass.
มุมนะที่อยู่ด้านล่างนี่ครับรวมถึงด้าน MDY นะฮะที่อยู่ด้านบนเนาะด้านซ้ายที่แลนด์สไลด์
I need to be my sound. You know what I'm saying, chat? I know y'all feel me.
โอ้คือละเมียดละไมกันมากแต่ละทีมตอนนี้นะฮะนี่ชาร์จไปก่อน1ทีจะก๊อปแก๊ปเจ็บอยู่เหมือนกัน
แกยิงเกาะแคร็กไปครับแต่ว่าไม่ได้ไล่ตามสุดนะปล่อยเขาไหลไปก่อนน่าจะขอไล่พื้นที่เอาตรงนี้แหละแล้วก็ขยับเข้าเมืองไปครับ
เอาล่ะ
I want Moon to show up so I can show him all these Catalyst players.
ใช่ครับ
แต่หมวกในข่าวจั่วเลยแหมไม่ค่อยจะสมดุลสมส่วนไปอ๋อนะฮะเป็นคนแบบโยกหัวเป็นคนหัวไวตรงนี้
คนหัวไว
ถูกต้อง
ส่วนใหญ่ก็โยกหัวอยู่ในผับ
ไม่ใช่มันไม่เกี่ยวไม่เกี่ยวอะไรเลยเอาละเหมือนจะมีการท้าผมส่วนด้านวีรัมเตสปอร์ตครับพยายามส่องอยู่นะคือตอนนี้รอบตัวพวกเขาเนี่ยโหคือเสียงปืนลั่นมากนะฮะบอกเลยว่ามีคนอยู่ในทุกพื้นที่ทุกอนูจริงแล้วก๊อปแก๊ปเนี่ยคือเกราะหายหมดแล้ว4 บาท
So it's still just that initial squad out. That's it.
แล้วดูจากการรวมตัวกันของคนแปลกๆก็ค่อยๆยัดลงมาด้านล่างกันเป็นส่วนใหญ่นะโซนบนของวงเนี่ยปล่อยทิ้งกันไปหมดแล้วครับ
ครับผมเอาละตึงอยู่เหมือนกันนะคือโซนAPAC-S Southเนี่ยผมบอกเลยว่าไม่ใช่ขี้ๆนะเอาจริง
ๆโอ้เลยแต่ละทีมอะโอ้ก็เราก็เห็นกันมาแล้วเนาะ
ถูกต้อง
ซีซั่นที่ผ่านมาครับว่ามันหนักหน่วงขนาดไหนครับมาด้านบนกันสักนิดหนึ่งอะ XNY หรือ X นี่
XNY เนาะนี่ฮะมีทางด้าน YC นะเมื่อสักครู่นี้เนี่ยผมตอนนี้นี่ฮะตามตรงนี้กันบ้างผมจะได้ Eternal Photon ครับจีรูนฮอลิเดย์แล้วก็ไฮคิสครับพยายามโซนพื้นที่กันไว้อยู่นะฮะไม่ได้ขยับเขยื้อนแต่อย่างใดเอาละเปิด Pacing Spike ไปก่อนด้านหน้า
Holiday. I know that name sounds familiar. I just don't remember who Holiday used to play for. It's the problem when I can't be up and like watching it consistently, man.
ยาวจนกว่าเราจะปาไปจนเกินลิมิตของมันนะครับเฮ้ยไม่มีอะไรแค่รอเปิดอันตีก็หาอันดาเฟลมาแล้วครับผมมาละ
Dark Veil gonna come out, go ahead and get break line of sight. Unfortunately, you already got the ult out, so it's gonna delay the push here.
จะเข้าใส่เข้าทำเลยฮะโรลิงทันเดอร์เบรกไว้ได้สวยเหมือนกันโยนเธอไม้ไป
Holiday trying to hold off his right side here.
โดนด้วยแต่ว่าก็ยังแบบว่ากล้า
Getting a couple ticks, so you know someone's coming through. Arcstar gonna try to at least hold him off here.
นี่นะฮะก็คือแบบว่าจะเปิดอัติมา
Race taking some big damage though.
ทั้ง2ทีมก็แยกย้ายถอยกันไป
this isn't good.
หนึ่งแบบนี้ยังไงดีเนี่ยไม่สิเก็บซับเลยแล้วกันนะไปจูกับ
ได้ไฮคิสมาใส่ต่อไหมอินเทอร์ฟอร์ทอนครับเสียด้านไฮคิสไปก่อนแบบนี้จะมีปัญหาหรือเปล่าตัดสินใจให้ถอยหนีทันทีแล้วเลยครับสำหรับได้อินเทอร์ฟอร์ทอน
เอาละสิหนีมา
Now, if you're a Photon here, you just have to hope that you're going to be able to kind of
โอ้โห
stay in this space. If anyone knows they're a duo, they're going to push him.
เอาไว้อยู่นะ
ใช่ แต่ว่ายังไม่ได้รีคอเวอร์แบนเนอร์เพื่อนมานะเมื่อสักครู่นี้นี่ครับสำหรับทางด้าน Eternal Photon ตัดไปที่อากุมะกันบ้างครับไลโมฮะคริสเซนเดอร์นะอักชัน
เปิดลงมาครับแต่วงต้องเข้าครับเอาไงดีฮะวงนี้ยังไม่เจ็บ
Only problem is when you're rolling in here with the storm right now, since there's so many teams left, there's really not going to be much
แล้วขอบวงตอนนี้แน่นๆ
real
เลย
estate
โร
for
เด
you.
อร์ขวางไว้ด้วยเอายังไงเข้าได้ไม่ได้หูถ้าได้ DY นี่
Like, look how far out Crusaders having to go.
เหมือนจะรู้ว่าเขาเจ็บตัดสินใจ
Empty
เดิน
white
มา
white's not giving him any space either.
แปะไปด้านหน้าก่อนคอยไล่โซนไปแล้วเห็นแล้วยิงเข้าไปในสโมกหูแล้วเกาะแคร็กแล้วแบบนี้เฟย์จูบอกว่าเพื่อนเอาหน่อยต้องไถแล้วล่ะไม่มีเวลาแล้ว
The amount of nemesis, this is a fish thing.
นะครับผม แต่เขาหายไปไหนแล้วอะ
นั่นน่ะสิ
หาไม่เจอแล้วเพราะว่าน่า
The
จะ
amount of players using the nemesis is kind of insane.
ไว
You
อยู่
can
นะ
hear it.
จริงเหมือนประหนึ่งว่าคือถอยสุดอะไม่สู้
When that thing gets wound up, it's that thing slaps, bro.
ใจถอยกลับเช่นเดียวกันเลยครับเพื่อที่จะไปเข้าวงแต่ว่าด้านหน้าพวกเขานี่บอกเลยว่าแน่นๆอยู่เหมือนกัน
ใช่ครับอีกด้านหนึ่งก็มีเริ่มเปิดเหมือนกันครับเอ็มที่ครับชาร์ลเฟิลน่าจะเป็นช็อตไกลเลยครับผมยิงร่วงไปได้ครับ
ใช่แล้วครับ
So out early was DEWA Esports
เมื่อสักครู่นี้นี่ครับบีบมาจากบริเวณฮาร์เวสเตอร์ได้เรียบร้อยครับผมแล้วทางด้านริมากันได้
DEWA
ครับ
still in.
ถูกเกมจะเก็บไปโดยไซยาจิน
HRMGRD's gonna be out early though.
Truth Esports นะ
นั่นไงทีมไทยเราก็ไปปิด HRMGRD ออกจาก
I really don't even want to switch. Like, as much as I normally like to switch over
ตรง
to
นี้ยังไงฮะทำไมคนเยอะ
the APAC South channel, I don't want to switch over if they don't have sound.
มีคนแอบมาเยี่ยมเยียนด้านล่างนะครับ
ผม
บุรีรัมย์บอกเฮ้ยเสียงเท้ามันอยู่รอบๆนี้แหละเพื่อน
แล้วเฟดรอบนี้มา2คนแต่ว่าเพื่อนล้มไปก่อนแล้ว1เนี่ยเหลือเพียงด้านมาตูคนเดียวแล้วเรียบร้อยเลยด้านหลังนี่เลกาซี่มาเก็บทางด้าน23 Tricks ออกจากเกมไปเอาเหลือคนสุดท้ายแล้วเรียบ
Fade's gonna get taken out
ด้าน
there.
บาส JW ครับเก็บงานออกไปเฟดออกจากสนามไปทันที
ตรงนี้ยังรออยู่เหมือนกัน
Buriram's on the outside here, but they should be able to move in pretty safely. They got a team underneath them though.
แล้วมุม
Is that a
กด
full
ถ้าอยู่
squad?
ดียิงไปเนี่ยล่วงลงไปด้านล่างเนี่ยวิกฤตเหมือนกันนะจริง
I don't think it's a full squad,
เ
right?
เห็นแล้วครับผมว่าเขาวิ่งโรเตทไปครับยังไงดี2คนหนีไป
You
แล้
can
ว
see Lala Bang just called it out.
นะกดนะ
ตรงนี้มีการใส่กันแล้วผมเจอได้เดียวูฟครับยังไงเปิดดับ
Eight
เบิล
all
ไปแล้ว
wolves.
ด้วย
Here's
ด้านบาส
DEWA.
JW ตัดสินใจถอยกลับก่อนเพราะว่า
So they are still
เหมื
alive.
อนกันแล้วไปเลยครับเพราะว่าตัวเองต้องเข้าวงด้วยกันหมดเนี่ยสำหรับทางด้าน DEWA United Esports แล้วโดนยิงไล่หลังมาเจ็บเอาเรียบร้อยเลย
That's
ส่วน
not
ด้าน
good.
เจสโก้ครับยิงน็อกมาเจสโก้ฮะจากไทยอีก1ทีมครับตรงนี้โอ้ป๊อปคอร์นไงจัดให้ไง1ถาดนะอร่อยอะเมื่อกี้น็อกแล้วเก็บไปเลย
What's crazy is the only team that has like a full squad wipe is
ยัง
Moist.
อยู่บาสยังอยู่
Everyone else is like a bunch of
คิวบาร์
singles.
ยังดึงขึ้นมาได้อยู่เพราะว่าขาด
And it's only 3 teams
แต่
out.
ว่าอะไรครับผมมีร่วมกันต่อแล้วครับเอ็มพีไวท์ครับผมสวนได้หรือเปล่าล่ะโดนมาอีก1ครับริมโบงจัดให้ครับ
โอ้มันปวดจริงๆนะสำหรับดาร์กเวลเนี่ย
ครับผม
โอ้ดาร์กเวลมันปวดมาก
Damn, tried, man.
คือมองไม่เห็นนะคือต้องกระโดดข้ามฝั่งไปอะเนี่ยฮะ
กระโดดข้ามฝั่งก็มืดอีก
อุ้ยแล้วไซยาจินก๊อตได้ฮะเก็บทางด้านบาส JW ออกไปตอนนี้ไซยาจินก๊อตมือเปิดจัดเลยได้ไหม
Oh, this is not a good spot to be in here if you're DEWA, bro.
ทันทีครับเหลือเพียงแค่ด้านลาฮีคนเดียวครับจากDEWA United Esports เอาแล้วจะช่วยได้ไหมจะไถต่อเนื่องหรือเปล่า
ขอบังให้เพื่อนเติมก่อนแล้วกันครับ Ironblood Gaming ครับโดนส่งออกจากเกม
Is that no name right up above Lava Siphon? Ironblood Gaming out in 15th, huh?
บีบเข้ากลางแล้ว
No, 16th for
อยู่กัน
IVG.
ข้างนอกหมดเลยฮะ
ใช่ยังไงวีถ่ายไหมไฟถืออาสตาปาโยนไปด้านหน้าแต่เขามีสโมกขวางอยู่มีไซด์ชวองสวนกลับมาถอยหนีพื้นที่บริเวณตรงนี้กันก่อนพยายามเซตอยู่ฮะสำหรับทางด้าน505มีเซียสปอร์กอเทนและวี
เอาสิยังไง
505 is a pretty interesting squad.
แต่จังหวะตัวเองจะเข้าเนี่ยไม่รู้จะ
They've been around for a minute.
เปล่านะเอาเลยแล้วกันนะอ้อมาอย่างนี้รูดไปเรียบร้อย
Oh, there's DEWA.
หายไปอีก1ทีมครับอันดับ15
Bro, that overlay's
โอ้
pretty
ยากจ
cool.
ริงนะเพราะว่าอยู่บริเวณขอบวงฮะบีบบังคับให้พวกเขาต้องเข้าวงเนี่ยเมื่อสักครู่นี้ครับแต่ว่าเข้าไม่ได้นั่นเองนะแล้ววงครับอัปเดตมารอบนี้เนี่ยออนิกยังอยู่ในวงนะครับเช่นเดียวกันกับทางด้านมอยสปอร์ตนี่ครับเอาละสิด้านซ้ายเนี่ยก็แน่นๆเหมือนกันนะทางด้านทูรีสปอร์ตนะครับบุรีรัมย์อยู่ด้านขวานะคุณผู้ชมนะทีมจากประเทศไทยนะครับรวมไปถึงด้านล่างอย่างป๊อปคอร์นด้วยนะครับโอ้เดี๋ยวต้องเจอกันก่อนยังไง ยังไงทางด้านหน้านี้
บนะดูเหมือนว่าจะชนกันอยู่เหมือนกันครับอินไซด์ลิงก็เข้าในวงอยู่เหมือนกันนะอยู่ทางเหนือของวงครับอยู่ในวงแล้วเหลืออิมเลียคนเดียวฮะเนียนๆนะ
ใช่ยังไงดีทางด้านเฮดครับเก็บทางด้านออปชันครับน็อกไปก่อน1ทางด้านนี้โมสุกระโดดเช็ค1ทีตัดสินใจถอยกลับแล้วเลยครับ
Play this safe and back it down here.
ครับสำหรับด้านทรีสปอร์ต
เอาสิแล้ววนขึ้นบน
They gotta figure out where they want to move into.
เจอแล้วครับขอเบิร์ดไป
Who they're shooting at? That's 8 all wolves.
ครับ
ADAL wolves.
ถอยกลับไปเติมครับแต่ว่า Rolling Thunder มาแบบนี้
I'll never know what to do now since I started calling EXO Clan
โอ้
EXO.
โหหน้าจอนี่ก็เพื่อมไปหมดแล้วสำหรับได้เดียวูฟหรือว่าอดาวูฟนั่นเองนะครับพยายามส่องหาอยู่แล้วเห็นแล้วแต่ว่าโดนสวนมาเฮกเรียบร้อยเลย
This isn't good for the wolves.
จัดให้ไปก่อน1น็อกแบบนี้มีไฟ
Especially because like the storms around their back.
ยังไงต่อ
Same could be said for Akuma though.
มองแจมยิงสักหน่อยนึงอดใจไม่ไหวไงอดใจไม่ไหวแต่ไซจินก๊อตก็พยายามมองค้ำไว้อยู่ก๊อปแก๊ปเก็บเหมือนกันต้องถอยกลับลงมาดึงชิวกันก่อนยังไงสเวย์ครับถูกเก็บมาจากเกมไปจากที่ด้านเซนี่พีเอ็นคิว2ขึ้นไปด้านหน้าก่อนสำหรับด้านก๊อปแก๊ปครับโอ้ยยากเหลือเกินสำหรับด้านบุรีรัมย์บริเวณขอบวงด้านขวาแต่ว่าอยู่ในวงได้เป็นที่เรียบร้อย
What's interesting is ONIC hasn't made any moves yet, but I'm pretty sure they had zone, right?
สุดท้ายบนครับซัดกันเละเทะไปหมดแล้วฮะเหลืออยู่แค่ทีมเดียวที่เข้ามาครับและอิมเลียอยู่ตรงนั้นพอดีครับผมยิงได้หรือเปล่า
โอ้แล้วออกไปแล้วนะสำหรับด้านป๊อปคอร์นครับและแคชชวลครับตามออกไปติดๆเลยเนี่ยในอันดับที่10นี่ครับบุรีรัมย์เตะสปอร์ตครับพยายามโซนพื้นที่กันอยู่ฮะ
19 left.
ฝ่ายวางไว้ด้านหน้านี้จะเดินต่อแต่ว่าโดนยิงแซวไหมเรื่อยตัดสินใจโยกก่อน
Only problem now is Buriram
เจ็บจัดคนสุดท้ายแล้วไม่ไหว
Can't have to worry about who's above him
เรียบร้อยเลยครับไปโดนแฟนกันเนตของทางด้านฟัซซี่ครับเกี่ยวจากเกมไปตามที่ติดเรื่องผมเป็นทางด้าน21การันตีครับออกไปเช่นเดียวกันนะฮะจากทางด้านโกลเด้นเซ
But
ต
he at least gets the one.
ส่วนทางเหนือฮะยังไม่จบไม่ง่ายนะซัดกันประมาณ 4-5 ทีมแล้วครับ
I think they've had this building the entire game, right? I'm pretty sure.
พื้นที่วงต่อไปเนี่ยบีบ
Or at least they've been in this like no name. They started in Harvester, but they're not far from
แบบ
Harvester.
นี้ได้เล่นเลย
I'm pretty sure they rotate here super early.
สปอร์ตเนี่ยฮะคุณผู้ชมให้ลุ้นกันอีก1ทีมบริเวณด้านขวาจะบอกเลยว่า
They
ไม่
can
ง่าย
legit
เหมือนกัน
just
เพราะว่า
vibe
มี
here.
คนเนี่ยเข้ามาแนบชิดใกล้ๆแล้วก็คือ Golden Sage นั่นเอง
ใช่ครับแล้วคือแบบว่าโดนดักจากด้านบนด้วยนะบุรีรัมย์ด้านล่างแล้ววงจะบีบ
Like they rotated like
ข้างบนเนี่ยยังพอวนๆไปด้านบนเขาได้อยู่นิดนึงนะเพื่อที่ยิงกดลงมาครับส่วนด้านล่างยังไงก็ต้องวิ่งออกครับ
ใช่แล้วเลยฮะ
Probably they had the shortest rotate.
ใจวนมาก่อนแต่ว่า
Maybe who had fraggies? Was that LG?
เดินมาย่ำกันไปนิดนึงยังไงต่อทางด้านนี้โกลเด้นเซจมูฟแล้วเห็นแล้วด้านล่างเจอมาแต่ว่าด้านพี่ดำจะเปิดที่ด้านล่างเลยก่อนแล้วมีกดหัวไปแต่ยังไม่น็อกนะ
เอาละครับ quick scope ต่อครับผมหนีทันหรือเปล่าตรงนี้เหมือนว่าจะหลุดรอดไม่ได้ครับเพราะมียิงทำข้ามมาจากอีกฝั่งหนึ่งครับอย่างนี้ยิงสวนกันไปครับด้านหน้าตรงนี้ปล่อย
Oh, this isn't good for Golden Sage.
ทีกับโกลเด้นเซจเหลือน้อยด้วยมีที่เติมเปล่าเอ้าโดนยิงออกมาจังหวะเติมร่วงไปแล้วหายไปเองครับ
เรียบร้อยเลยฮะในด้านโกลเด้นเซจครับถือด้านมอยสปอร์ตเกมจากเกมไปเป็นที่เรียบร้อย
Golden Sage is going out the moist
ด้านหน้านี่มาวีปาสตาร์โยนไปด้านหน้าโอ้โหแล้วนั่นอยู่กัน3คนโดนไหมโดนหรือเปล่ายังไม่โดนเนี่ย
ONIC still chilling in that building.
ข้างบนนะโดนลงใส่แล้วบุรีรัมย์โดนเก็บตามออกไปครับผมเอาสิตอนนี้ยังไงต่อครับ
about to go out
ทีสุดท้ายครับและเหลือ4ไม้มุมนี้ยังไงอีเทอร์นอลครับโดนเกี่ยวไปอันดับ5ครับ
Can ONIC stay inside where they're at?
ทางด้านวีไปนอกทางด้านโว
505's in a fight over here.
พยายามมอง
So that's 2 of the 4 teams.
วีก็เจ็บเหมือนกันแล้วเจ็บคู่ยังไง
I'm pretty sure ONIC gets to win this for free because everyone's fighting. Yeah.
ไปน็อกด้านลากี้มาออนิกฟัซซี่น็อกไปเช่นเดียวกันแล้วบอย
That's moist down.
สนามไปเลยในอันดับที่4
Oh no! Fussy just went down.
พยายามชุบกันอยู่ฮะส่วนด้านบนครับโอนิกยังไม่เสร็จงานนะครับเอากุมายังเหลือคนสุดท้ายอยู่ครับผมยังไงฮะตามหาได้หรือเปล่าเก็บได้หรือเปล่า
โอ้โหเดินลุยวิบากกรรมของแคดดี้
Oh my good
ตามที่เรียบร้อยครับผมหายไปอะ
Yo
นี่ครับยังคงสามารถ
Oh
ไปไม่ได้แต่ว่า
my
อีกฝั่ง
goodness
เขาไม่
that
รอแล้วครับ
massive
ผม
shot was
เมื่อ
disgusting
แบบนี้ครับโถมเข้าใส่เต็มที่กับยัดสโมกมาและชันที่ต้องเรด
I mean 505's gonna win
ก่อนเวลาคิดที่ร่วงลงและยัดเรดต่อเรดลูกนี้จบเลยหรือเปล่า
Good game though for
ยังยื้อต่อไม่ได้ครับมันโดนใส่ไปแล้วยังไงเรียบร้อยไหมเรียบร้อยครับผม
505 had quite a few frags there too
สำหรับเกมแรกครับ
เดือดมากๆเลยฮะสำหรับในช่วงปิดไฟท้ายวงครับของด้านไฟรวมไปถึงหลายๆทีมด้วยเนี่ยคือด้วยความที่ว่าพื้นที่เนี่ยมัน
Or did they get sound back over here? No, they did not get sound back over here.
ทาง
Long
Firefly
shot struggling today,
จังหวะ
champ.
บีบเนี่ยมันเข้ามามากกว่าในช่วง
ใช่
แรกนะครับเลยลงไปปิดไฟกันก่อนส่วนอีกด้าน
Long
อีก
shot
ด้านหนึ่ง
struggling
บ้าง
today,
อยู่
champ.
เราเลยยื้อไฟกันนานนะครับแล้วกว่าจะจบไฟกันก็โดนโถมเข้าไปเต็มที่ฮะ
ถูกต้องเลยครับและนี่คือแชมเปี้ยนสควอตครับ5-5ครับในเกมแรกครับสามารถเก็บไปได้นะครับผมในส่วนฟอร์กเทนนี่ทำดาเมจทั้งหมด471นี่ครับมีเสียที่เก็บไป7คิว
So 19-point game there for 505 because you got the 7 kills, 12 points for placement.
431นั่นเองฮะแม่มีเสียเขาไปหิวอะไรมา
XCS going crazy
อยู่คนเดียวเลย
ไม่รู้เหมือนกันนะน่าจะพยายามเก็บค้อนอยู่
นะฮะเอาละฮะแล้วนี่คือในส่วนของคะแนนนะฮะสำหรับเกม
21-point game. Did I say 19-point game?
21 คะแนนนะไล่เรียงมาเป็น ONIC Esports นะครับ12นะครับกูมะนะครับ18นะครับมอยสปอร์ต13นะครับผม Eternal Photon 6นะครับBuriram Esports ทีมจากไทยนะฮะออกไปในอันดับที่
Moist
6
just
นะครับ
do
มี
what Moist
4 แต้
does
มนะครับ
best, just playing patient, getting
แต้ม
themselves
นั่นเองนะฮะ28การันตี
some
3
kills,
นะครับมี
but
Wing 2แล้วก็ Casual 2 นั่นเองนะฮะ
kind of got caught in bad position there in the end.
ต่อด้านล่างครับ XY ครับได้ไป6แต้มแม้จะออกไวแต่ว่าคิวเข้ามาเยอะเหมือนกันนะป๊อปคอร์นครับได้ไป2ครับอดาวูฟครับได้ไป2เหมือนกันนะครับ Truth Esports 5สังเกตว่าหลายๆทีมเนี่ยที่มาแบบว่าออกไวเนี่ยคิวเยอะอยู่นะ
ใช่
ไม่ใช่น้อยๆเลยนะครับ
ถูกต้อง
ผมที่เหลือครับไล่เรียงตามที่เห็นเลยครับออกไวต้นเกมที่มี0แต้มไปก็สามารถแก้มือได้ใน5เกมที่เหลือครับ
ใช่แล้วเลยครับมีเพียงแค่ MDY ไว้นะที่สามารถเก็บไปได้1คิวนะฮะในช่วงต้นเกมนะครับที่ไปไล่ยิงมาได้นั่นเองบริเวณ
All right, let's see if
โอ้นี่แค่เกมแรกนะคุณผู้ชมฮะนี่ครับและนี่คือตารางคะแนนรวมนะคุณผู้ชมอันนี้คือไล่เรียงลงมานะครับของกรุ๊ป A เจอกรุ๊ป B เนาะ5-5ครับนำอยู่เป็นอันดับที่1นะครับอันดับที่2อากู
Oh, why is my stream deck not working?
การันตีครับ3คะแนน
อันดับครับผมอันดับ11ครับ Inside the Ring จากไทย1ทีมนะครับได้
It's crazy they did a nice wig is at
นะครับ
5K even in the middle of the night.
อันดับวูฟครับได้ไป2ที2เหมือนกันนะครับเช่นเดียวกับ
It's insane,
ผม
like
บอกเลยว่า2คะแนนเนี่ย
where he's at right now. I think that's
ฉะนั้นใครจะขึ้นมาตารางด้านหน้ารอดูเกมต่อไปแล้วกัน ที่เหลือครับ APAC ครับได้ไป1นะครับแล้วก็อันดับ17ถึง20คือทีมที่ยังไม่ได้คะแนนจากเกมแรกครับ
ใช่แล้ว
all right. So Akuma in second off the back of a really, really strong frag
หาย
game.
ไปไหนกันแน่ๆ
Oh, actually, you know what?
นะครับผมเท่ากับว่าจะเหลือเวอร์เออีก2นะครับผมแล้วจะไปต่อ
Let me
ที่สองพอยต์นั่นเองนะฮะโอ้โหแหมแต่ว่าก็พูดถึงก็คือแต่ละทีมเนี่ยที่ยังไม่มีแต้มเนี่ยก็ยังสามารถแก้ตัวได้นะอีก5เกมที่เหลือนะฮะก็ต้องดูนะครับว่าจะเป็น
the scores are updated on
รวมถึง
Wikipedia
ทีมไทยทั้ง4
anyways,
ทีมด้วย
but
นะครับผมยังไงฝากติดตามให้กำลังใจเชียร์พวกเขาด้วยนะครับสำหรับวันนี้นะครับผมนะฮะก็เดี๋ยวให้เรา2คนนะครับผมและนักกีฬาไปพักกันสักครู่เดียวครับผมนะฮะเดี๋ยวกลับมารับชมความสนุกกันต่อในเกมที่2ครับ
Yeah. Oh, there they are. Okay, so this is up to date, which means this is just behind. Oh no, you know what? It's probably because of the days. Oh, this is so much pain. Hold on, chat. What if we just do 9? There it is. Bam. APAC South. I found it. All right, scoreboard's up to date. Is long shot up? Long shot's up.
We've seen a lot within the APAC South region. You've still got Jolas and Xavier Heavier coming through from the previous roster, which was, you know, not a bad performing roster. I didn't think. Like, this was a team that you know, was able to put a little bit on the board last split. I mean, 24th probably.
What was the
not
name of
where
their
I would
team
have
name
liked
last
to have
year?
seen them hitting. I think they can probably.
Was it the
shoot
same
for a little
team
bit
name?
higher than
I don't think
that,
it was,
but,
right? Ain't no way.
Qualified pretty comfortably in the split 2 qualifiers.
I
so
don't believe
to see
it.
what this team can do.
Yeah, it will
Right?
be. You know, to be fair, they didn't make it through. They got relegated. You know, they were in 24th spot in split
Maybe
1.
that's why I don't remember the
So
name.
as a result of that, they did have to
I'm pretty
re-qualify,
sure.
But with the addition of Belkin, they've managed to do that. And as you said, you know,
Right?
Belkin, very popular player from Indonesia, has long been quite a skilled player. Just has never quite found his way into. Well, actually, was that fair? So he's never quite found his way into one of the top teams. I mean, maybe back when. I'm trying to think. He's been on quite a few different rosters actually, throughout the history of APAC South. Maybe if you go back as far as like Wolfpack, you know, one of those teams. I guess
I'm guessing that must
one
be
of
like
the
early
best teams
on.
in the region. Will he find that?
That's
kind
gotta
of
be early on
success
days, right?
HRMGRD? I'm not so sure. I mean, I think they're definitely a team that deserves to be in that top 30 in Pro League, and they proved that by requalifying again. But are they going to improve on, you know, their previous placement of 24th? Hard to say.
I mean, I think he's got a fairly decent resume, actually. Like, when you go back and look at his history, he played at the Split 2 playoffs with Revenant. I think they went from free agents in Split 2 last year to Revenant. So, you know, has that international experience. He played in that Direwolves roster for a little bit as well.
It's true.
In Champs in 2021, which was like the online era of ALGS.
Like, no longer around though,
like,
right?
Overall, there's a lot of there's a lot of
Revenant?
good teams there, I think, for him. But
I don't think
right?
I
don't know. We've got to take a little bit of a step back here for a second, Genome. So we've got a little video for you to take a look at, and then we'll jump into game 2.
Oh, this is the promo video. They did really good with this. So here's one thing I will say. I have noticed that, generally speaking, the Pacific broadcast, and I don't know what languages, I'm not going to try and act like I know, always seem to be a lot higher.
All right, welcome back to ALGS APAC South. Thanks for sticking with us as we get rolling on day 1 of the
NA
season. It's time for us to jump into game number 2. Genome 505 did pick up the win.
The English
game
broadcast.
1,
Yeah, the
but,
English
the usual
broadcast,
suspects,
right?
the likes of ONIC, the likes of Moist, getting themselves
Just
up
in my
inside the
opinion.
top 3
Maybe I'm
as
wrong.
well.
I could be wrong on
Shouldn't
that,
be too
but
much of a surprise if they continue to post results like that over the course of today.
Yeah, I mean, as you said, right, this is a pretty stacked lobby when you look at, you know, the likes of ONIC and Moist and all those kind of teams.
I think
sitting
this
up
is the
in there.
most stacked
So if you're doing
of
well
the
in the A versus B
combinations.
lobby, I'd say there's a good chance you're going to do well if you're making it to that regional finals. And yeah, we have had a lobby restart, so probably will be just another couple of minutes before we get that going. And work out.
I wonder if they're still having
which one we're going into
server
next.
issues.
But yeah, look, while we wait for the lobby to get going again.
Chat, is volume good?
Look,
I just want to
we've
make
actually
sure.
got a little bit of a
I don't
treat
want
for
them
you
to be too
guys.
loud, 'cause I want us to be able to actually chat and talk.
But
But
recently, IBG that we were just talking about, they've actually released a really cool video going over the LAN.
Was a
tournament
really
they were
cool
just
video,
at,
chat.
and we've got
You
a
guys should
little
definitely check it out.
teaser here for you to check out that.
I watched it after we got done watching the first matchup of NA Challengers. This came out really, really good. whoever their editor is did really, really well on this. Oh shit, I just realized this is on top chat, not all chat. Oh yeah, it matters at the moment, but... Dude, that's my square, bro. Yo, honestly, I feel like, and I know this isn't like a hot take by any stretch of the means, but like Apex coaches should really get a little bit more. I know it'd be pretty hard to get them all like PCs so they could observe.
Well, there you go. If you don't know who IBG is, then that's a good opportunity for you to get to know them. I think it's a pretty long video, isn't it? You know, like something like 40 minutes or so. So yeah, it's like almost basically a documentary almost sort of thing. That
and only episode 1.
Yeah, you can really get to know this team or these players and the org. And stuff like
I do believe it's actually only like 25.
To sort of see that kind of content.
27.
It's not. Yeah. I don't think the normal kind of content that you get from an esports team.
Yeah, and you know, especially like in APAC South, right? We don't probably have as much org support, so the fact that IBG are coming out and investing that much into the team, and you know, showing that kind of that quality level on the content is really awesome. You know, it was fantastic to meet those guys for the first time at LAN, of course. You know, haven't seen them there before. You know, from Loki, the coach, to
I want to pitch an idea maybe to
Panna as well. Was obviously not the best LAN performance from them. You know, no doubt that's one of the reasons why they ended up making the roster change. I mean, you know, Panna had his medical issues while he was over there. He was in hospital basically as soon as he got back to Australia. So,
I didn't know that.
Yeah, no,
he was in the hospital.
Honestly, so
there, right?
Yeah, was it that though, or was it, you know, the sort of the style of Apex that they played that maybe didn't work as well at LAN? Was it a bit of nerves because they were?
I mean, first time at LAN.
On that
first time at LAN.
It's hard to say.
Would
honestly.
be fair.
I think it's probably.
I don't think it was that.
Yeah, look, I mean, that is one of the things that I sort of touched on while you were away at the start, was that, like, I don't know that going into that event anyone necessarily expected, even despite the solid performance domestically, that they would be the best performer from the APAC South region. I mean, I can't talk for you. I don't know what you sort of said or what you expected going into that event, but for me, like, I always value a lot of experience. Especially
I mean, Moist is always going to turn up like when it does the most. Their play style is consistent.
Domestically, you tend not to get away with as much. So it normally takes teams
totally.
Good 6 to 12 months to kind of find their feet and be able to perform, and then you know, be able to actually put some good results on the board over there. And I think that, you know, you've got a good example in Moist Esports of that kind of mentality where, you know, if we go back this time 12 months ago, did this team even exist 12 months ago? I can't recall exactly when it was formed, but like the first time they went overseas as Team Burger, they didn't perform as well as they did this time. Now though, you know, with that extra little bit of time under their belt, and the fact that obviously those guys had more reps in the previous year of ALGS.
To be fair, I believe in grand finals they were landing close to Fury, if I'm not mistaken.
Under their belt.
I could be wrong on that. I have to go back and double check the tape.
Show the fruits of that later.
But I believe they died.
They turn up to LAN. They know exactly what they're doing, right? I remember. I think that was actually one of the things that the IBG boys might have mentioned to me while I was over there, was just, yeah, how much tighter everything is. You know, how much more they needed to really lock in. Like, you know, walking to a balloon and someone's just like, you know, 5 seconds behind, they get picked off, right? Something like that. You know,
a balloon?
Just the pressure and the skill at LAN.
He's a walk into a balloon.
So much that you just have to be thinking about things that you don't necessarily have to think about when we're playing throughout a split, when you're just in, you know, your regional cocoon, because you don't get punished for those things. You know, you're not always running up against teams who can, you know, bully you in those kind of ways.
Yeah. So I just want to update everyone. I think unfortunately we've had another lobby reset, so we'll probably be another
Yo, these
little while
players
before we
are
get the
going to
game,
be
so,
loving
it's
the
unfortunate,
lobby
but,
resets, man.
What a start.
You know
It
what
is what
sucks
it is. You know,
it
this
seems
is
to
day
be
one, and
such
this is
an
how things do
issue
tend to go sometimes on day
in the
one.
region, unfortunate.
Things tend to move a
What
little
up,
bit slower.
Scroof?
But we're getting through it.
I'll be honest,
Just
homie.
joining the next lobby.
I'm not gonna lie to you.
And
I do not.
you know, we'll be all right.
But if you've been
We'll
through
get there
before,
at
welcome
some
back.
point.
Welcome back.
And we'll have some Apex for you guys to watch. So, what have we got to watch now? Why don't we go back to better times? You know, take a look back at some of the good times. The Split 1 playoffs.
Been doing a lot of
that,
watch
were
parties
such
between
a
Apex and
fantastic move for
Valorant
Apex
lately,
South.
so I do apologize.
Been a long time coming, and now they get that opportunity because in their own little bubbles they probably think that they're the best. Now they can prove it.
Welcome everybody to the caster's desk for the very first time. It's been a long time coming. I'm Fallout, joined alongside Vicky Kitty.
Is this?
Waltzy to try and clutch it out 1-on-2.
This is like old footage. Right? This is Reykjavik? I think.
In fact, not even going to charge on forward. Waltzy trying to just play around, and he's now been able to put it into the one-on-one.
Because Phoenix team hasn't been around for a while. Yeah, it's Waltzy on Sudaraiku. So this is.
Able to play with Pit's flash. Was that on the down player? Was that on the player that he's fighting? I'm not too sure. Some cracks going through. Waltzy now has the advantage and clutches it out for Sudaraiku.
Run into it, do they try the Valcolt? Do they use the crypto spam to run distraction in the meantime?
Because Revenant's not around anymore either.
And they've got plenty of opportunity, looking to fight some more. The Spitfire coming out again.
Revan Esports don't care about your gold armor. Sit down.
DEWA in a great spot though. They're going to down them again. Bastion with the Peacekeeper coming out here from the high ground. Could they be the first team from APAC South here to find victory? This is the best opportunity for them to do so. Full armor, full HP, and a massive chance to convert, to find victory. They take out ONIC. It's only Yuki left, and he cannot stand in their way. APAC South, welcome to the ALGS playoffs. They're going to get shot in the back. Yeah. They're right here,
I really am so sad that DEWA didn't get the chance to
They're ready.
They're going to end.
go to London, man. I think they're going to end up. I think they'll still end up qualifying again this split, but.
Can Burgers somehow do this in a 2v3v3?
They lose out on MT here from Team Burgers, having to play as a duo. GMT has a lot of their attention split up as Team Unite now, moving on GMT 6.
One more to try and get second.
Let's go, boy!
The best team in APAC South for
Well, it's
a
kinda
reason. They've been
crazy.
So dominant, and even with a sub JMW from the UK, they are here to play.
Is when you look at it, like a lot of the top teams have had a lot of the same top players, but they
Yeah, they're
keep
going to
switching.
hang out behind the rock here. They got the mobile respawn beacon to play off.
And like
off the
I
gaming,
get
and
it,
with
but I can't help but wonder if that
for the third party and take this entire victory.
prevents the ceiling from being a little higher.
Wide left flank, and they're just like that.
Put some respect in APAC South's name.
Facts.
Holy shit. The region that was made fun of the most. The region that was talked about saying they're the worst by far with the least experience. Taking home the land and taking home $250,000.
APAC South, when you think about it, man, has kind of been
history.
Like low key shit on from day one.
All
And
right, welcome back
somehow
once again
still
to
is yet
APAC
to get their
South.
flowers.
This is ALGS, and we
It's
are on
kinda
day
crazy.
one We have finished one game, but you know, trouble getting through to game 2. I think we're getting close to jumping in, and hopefully this time the lobby will not get reset. Third time might be the charm. I think that's the way that the phrase goes, isn't it?
Maybe. Have we been debated again? You never know.
Yeah.
Yeah. Look, one game in. I think we've already seen a bit of a hint of what this next split is gonna look like, Elfish. I'm just thinking about like the balance cadence.
When he says that, I wonder if he means
after a season,
a lot of hecticness, or
you know, that usually there's some small changes that come through maybe after the start of the season. Will we see those during Split 1? Will we maybe see them after Split 1 going into the playoffs? Because of course you guys might have seen the news, the playoffs have been pushed back a little bit as well. So there will be, I think it's about 2 months, something like that, between the end of Split 1 and at the end of Split 2 and the Split 2 playoffs, which does actually give us time to, like, you know, maybe have another, you know, slightly bigger patch or something like that, where they can make some tweaks, you know, and potentially look at, yeah, you can see here, yeah, look at, you know, making changes to, you know, Seer, Catalyst, I think would probably be the ones that, you know, may need a little bit of a look at once we get to that Split 2 playoffs. And I was really hoping, by the way, because I think, you know, when we showed this graphic at the start of the year, Elfish, it was like a top X for Split 2, because of course, you know, we did have that system.
Why
where
does it say
if your
Winterland?
region does well enough, you can actually increase the number or decrease, depending on, you know, if you do badly, the number of spots you get going into the playoffs. And we didn't manage to do it this time. Obviously, we, like, Dark Zero, you know, winning. You know, not that they count for NA anymore, but if they had have done that previously, that basically would have given us an extra spot. Like, the amount of points that you get from coming first at LAN basically gives your region an extra slot. So we didn't quite make it there this time, even though we had, you know, a huge amount. What was it, like 4 out of our 5 teams made it through to
4 out of the 5, 2 in the top 7
in LAN. Unfortunately, that was only enough to sort of maintain the 5 spots we have and not get anymore. So yeah, it will still be playing for top 5. That's the sort of the magic number. When we get to that regional finals, you'll get the top 4 teams with points overall throughout this split going through, and then you will have the one, the golden ticket kind of vibe going through as the winner of the regional final.
I got the golden
those 5
ticket.
teams will be making it to LAN.
Yeah, look, I mean, I don't think it's super unreasonable to say that the slots should have stayed the same based on the results. Like, outside of Moist and ONIC, there wasn't really anyone else that did perform super well, I didn't think. I mean, you know, you can say obviously DEWA didn't get to go and whatever, and then they're maybe one of the better teams based on the result, so that could have changed things a little bit. But then again, you know, like, there was that exact same conversation happening around Europe.
I mean, EXO did fine until the last day, and they didn't have their coach, so
because, like, half their good teams aren't here as well, or certain players aren't here, and blah blah blah, and that kind of thing. So, you know, whatever. I think it's by the by. I definitely think that if the APAC South region wants to have more teams go over and represent, then yeah, they're going to need to do.
They do need to step the game up. I think that's 100%.
Well, I mean,
very
that's one way to look at that, Elfish. I honestly think, you know, after this year, we probably need to have a look at the system. You know, if I'm being honest with you, because the fact that we can have all of our teams perform that well, you know, and we're still not increasing our number of slots,
facts.
Like, to me, that
big
says, like,
facts.
Because essentially we only have 5 teams contributing towards the amount of points, right? The other regions, the bigger regions, have 10 teams contributing. So, yeah, like, the deck is kind of already stacked against us. And I think when we've proved that we're doing that well, our 6th place team, Dreamfire, comes in, they kill it as well, and there's not even their real roster. You know, that kind of stuff is happening. Like, yeah, look, from my POV, you know, I think North America definitely does deserve to have more slots. I think they are undoubtedly the strongest region right now. But I think we're definitely on par with, say, you know, an APAC North or an EMEA.
Yeah, for sure. And I mean, there's obviously the South America discussion as well, where you know, there's 5 slots for APAC South, 5 slots for South America. And the results from South America are clearly not the same as what you're getting from APAC South. And I think APAC South, if you make the argument, that they're on the level of Europe and APAC North. In fact, maybe I would even argue I don't know. It's a bit of a bias thing in there, but I think they're a little bit better than APAC North just in terms of averages. But again, it's hard to make that statement because there's a lot more teams going overseas from APAC North. But the issue I would say with the system, that if you're going to say, okay, South America, for example, no one's going to argue South America should, in theory, have as many teams as APAC South based on results. But if you start taking the teams away, taking opportunities away from that region, then they go down to like what, 2-3 teams, something like that.
Right.
And that
they
continues
need more
to have a knock-on
opportunities
effect in terms
as well.
Of, okay, teams now are not as motivated in the region. They don't have as much to play for. They're not getting as much practice because now only 2 of their teams are going to go overseas, and therefore the region gets worse. And so it's like really hard. I think there has to be like, maybe you have to say like, okay, 5 is the base. And then maybe you can go to like 6 or 7, you know, or whatever. Like, I'm just throwing numbers out here. It doesn't have to be.
Yeah.
But you get my point, right? That if you take too many slots away from a region, that region can just go, oh, well, what's the point of playing now?
No,
like,
you know what I mean?
I
I totally agree with you. I think there should definitely be a floor that's probably around 3 or 4 teams for a region. I think considering South America's results so far, I'm not sure 5 is the right number for them. I feel like those slots probably could be used for genuinely competitive teams in some of the other regions. I mean, honestly, going off the results that we have had recently, I think if it was just me, if I'm like,
you know what's
just
crazy
promoting
to
myself
me?
to commissioner
Is
of
we're
the ALGS
actually
right
still
now,
in between games 1 and 2.
Yeah, I'm just doing it. You can't stop me. I think the slots that I would put in would probably be 12 for NA, 8 for North America. 8 for EMEA, APAC North and APAC South, and 4 for South America. I think that would be my base, and then. Because I actually think the system right now, in terms of how you win and lose slots, is actually really good. I think it's actually quite fair, but only fair if you've sort of.
I don't know if I'd go as far as
taken
8
a good
for
base level reading of where the other regions are at, and they've got the appropriate number of teams feeding points back into that system. And that's where I think one of the problems is at the moment, is that the 5 teams we have for APAC South are just not enough to be representing.
I think the other problem too was when you
I mean, not to mention the fact that I don't think there has been an international event where all the APAC South reps that actually qualified did attend. If I'm not incorrect, I think there's always been at least one team, and at least one team with subs, or has had some like two player changes or something. So basically, it's not the same team anymore at that point. So yeah, there's that. So what was your base?
The problem is for APAC South is you have 7 and 8.
Well, no, like the base would be like a
6
starting
and
point
7,
12,
and then you had
8,
19
8,
and
4.
20.
Right, but you would be willing to go below 4 for example, if South America continued to perform the way.
Yeah, look, I think 3 or 4 would probably be right for South America, honestly. Oh, hey, we got a game, guys. All right, podcast over.
Yeah. I like that podcast though, because I always like talking about those kinds of things. But I will make the argument that I think going below 4, you could significantly hurt the region in terms of.
Yeah, I think 4 is probably the min.
That's a deeper discussion than what we have time for.
I think that's a genuinely fair point as well.
Yeah. Anyway, let's talk about the game, because
that would be
that's kind of what we're all here
line.
for. And I feel like we could have played a whole game basically in the time that it's taken to get into this one, but here we are.
I feel like that's
back onto World's Edge for game 2 now. Just to update you or remind you, 505 won the last game. ONIC and Moist both finished inside the top 3 as well in that game. And the other team to kind of give a quick shout out to there was Akuma. They picked up 11 kills in that game, and they're sitting in 2nd overall for the overall placements. So I guess the teams to kind of keep an eye on heading into game 2 are 505, Akuma, Moist, ONIC, and Eternal Photon was the team that rounded out the top 5.
Yeah, interesting start from some of those. Akuma, probably not a name that you would be familiar with. Or
I definitely don't even remember Akuma
as much. But yeah, Ironblood Gaming, obviously one that we have talked about a little bit, and where this ring is going. By the looks of it, you can see they're just getting that info now, with Jaro picking up the Catalyst, of course. She is that controller character, which, again, man, confusing me with the input names there, but controller class, obviously the only one now. Those 4 heroes, I think it's Rampart, Caustic, Watson, and Catalyst, who can now scan the new ring consoles.
Yeah, interesting how that all plays out. I don't know that...
they're talking about the system, and I can't help but wonder
in that last game. But
if there's some way you can variable for having replacement teams or something, because you have to, right?
All right? Well, one thing to mention.
Is it fair for Dream Fire to be punished for being 20th in the grand finals?
We did have a very
when that's a team that didn't even play together all split.
Game 1. This time we're headed up to the icier parts of the map. Epicenter seems to be close-ish to the epicenter.
Or like last year, say for the duos that were in grand, the couple duos that were in grand final.
Yeah, it looks like it's going to be a climatizer zone. So teams up towards the north, you got Eternal, Photon, and Akuma. Actually, there you go. Some of the teams did pretty well in game 1. Definitely looking to pick up some split points here. I've already made their way in. Let's Go is there, and ONIC is also pulling up. As we can see, IBG, they're coming over roundabout from Skyhook, so they will probably be there. I don't think they're going to get a particularly advantageous position, actually. I reckon they're probably going to be maybe 10th or something to make it into the zone, so they might have to play for, say, that north side of Climatizer or something like that, one of the buildings there, which seems to be in less often. It seems to definitely pull down to the south side a bit more often, I would say.
Alright, well, take the balloon here for Moist. Still got a ways to go, that's for sure. Golden Sage down a member. Don't have the banner, so no revive is going to be available, unfortunately.
G-Nope always on a headset? I see someone asking why he's on a headset in chat, but he's always on a headset,
kind of the nature of the beast when you're in such a busy area of the map. And believe me, that is a busy area of the map. I'm just watching all of these teams rotate their way in. Here comes Moist as well, another team that has just found their way into Climatizer. So no real chance that if you lose a member here, you're going to be able to pick anyone up. This position that Moist found themselves in, though, is a position that we've actually seen a lot of teams playing in the past. If you jump up on that little back platform, generally your feet are kind of safe from teams that are far away from you. So it's actually not a bad spot to hold. And I've seen a lot of teams kind of not necessarily always win.
Look at all these teams here. ONIC's already here again, too.
So I'm kind of surprised that Moist is able to get in there as comfortably as they did. Looks like they are moving on, though, so they might have a bit of an idea as to where this zone is going, or that they want to take a bit of a better spot.
Yeah, well, they do actually end up going up top, and yeah, look, that's paying dividends already, with Popcorn having some trouble, courtesy of the scout there.
Of course, Moist has everyone around them, so they have to worry about teams right back. Ooh, nice shot, so by Pricey.
Split coming up to this season. So yeah, like, I mean, that position you were talking about down there, I think that was, would have been a very good one if you had Watson. It was nice and easy to just, you know, chuck a pylon up, make sure you're putting your walls up and everything around there. With Catalyst, I don't know, is it as good, right? You kind of want the buildings with Catalyst because of that reason we're seeing right there. You can reinforce the doors. It's a very,
nice shots from MT, but needs to back down.
That Catalyst has.
True, something to consider, that's for sure. Obviously, a lot of new things coming through this season that we have to bear in mind now. Bear in mind as well, Moist, you know, they're kind of just crushing everyone. There's another one for them. Pricey gets the knock onto Jaro. It's a little bit of a... I don't know if that's necessarily a revenge storyline. In fact, it'd probably have to be going the other way if it was going to be a revenge storyline. But I think in this case, Moist, you know, up against one of their former teammates, I mean, they don't really care who it is. They're just going to run through the lobby. It really does not matter to them. I think who's standing in front of them, they would pretty much consider themselves the best team in the region, and they're going to take every fight with confidence, and no surprises to see them working their way through this one pretty nicely. Iron Blood Gaming does go down, and Moist, they lost
Iron Blood
MT,
going to be
on
down
the floor,
again. Very early, huh?
Right.
Yeah, no one else
this
is
time to Moist.
really challenging them for this position right now. So Moist, I think, are going to be fine. You know, Price is up there, making sure those doors are reinforced, and they've got a couple of death boxes to work with now, thanks to IBG going down. Golden Sage actually looking across at them from the other dome that's
Chat, we can, like, during NA and EMEA.
But, yeah, for the moment, that's a
we'll
good
pull
start
up extra VODs and stuff, but
same as
we kind of got to vibe and do this right now.
Start, got themselves a nice position inside of the ring, and I'll be expecting to see them have a decent finish here as well. Now, one other thing that I've sort of noticed over the first two games here is, and it's good that we're talking about the map right here, Truth Esports just out on the edge again, just sort of playing the edge of the ring once more. So they're sort of out on their own little island, and not really a whole lot going on for them at the moment. Didn't really get to see how they finished off last game, but definitely be keeping an eye on that roster.
I
'cause
wonder
think
if
that
DEWA's
is
third.
a team that
Hold
can
on.
do a bit of damage as well.
Yeah, Natsuru-sama had fallen off a little bit, I think, in Split 1 compared to previous years where he's been, you know, one of the best players in the region. So I will be interested to see how they perform, certainly, in Split 2 here.
Indeed. Well, still taking a look at
Listed as their
Climatizer
third
here.
or fourth, maybe?
And this is the northern side of Climatizer where Buriram have kind of set themselves up.
Yeah,
They were
okay.
united in a little bit of a spot of bother here. Have actually lost a member to that setup from Buriram, but they've got the banner and they're going to try
been
and get
part
their
of
way
DEWA
out.
for
Kisan's
almost a year,
really
so.
getting booked here by a Nemesis. It's got gaps from range that's firing those shots off. They have gotten
Like
to
a new
relative
player, but
safety
not really a new
now.
player.
They were
Ooh.
united, but
Oh.
I am not too sure how easy it's going to be for them to get the res. There is a respawn beacon inside of the next zone, but that is well and truly covered by Buriram, so I'm really not sure what the options are here for DEWA United, unless they were to wrap around the ring and go towards Survey Camp, but in that case they'd run into Truth.
It's a little bit tough, eh? I think they might actually have to go around sort of more northern, like around where Epicenter is, the rocks, and there's a little bit of terrain around there. I think they can play within the next ring, and with the information we had there, it looks like there was a chance that the ring was going to pull sort of north of Climatizer, which in that case would really help DEWA. But yeah, as you say, you know, they've only got the two members right now. Do they go back to the beacon that's outside the northern tunnels? And try
I mean,
and
I think at this point, most people are going to be close to
rotated,
rotated, so they're going to be people coming over.
Running at them like Usain Bolt.
Yeah, for sure.
Well, it doesn't look like there's too much happening here for
But
DEWA
they would
United. Everywhere they
1000%
try
get
to go,
rolled
they
up
run
on.
into a brick wall of some
Truth's already
capacity.
by
They
'em.
did try to make that rotate down to Survey Beacon, a Survey Camp, I should say, to see if there was that respawn beacon, but unfortunately for them, it's not really going to be an option. Maybe best case scenario, they can sneak in on that northern side of the map and hope that Buriram gets contested in some way, shape, or form, but that also really doesn't look like it's going to happen right now. I'm just watching the minimap, and obviously the ring is starting to pull its way in at the moment, and so options are starting to become limited for DEWA United. We've been spending a lot of time talking about them, watching them, but I think it's with good reason, because now time might be starting to run out for them.
It's kind of how the battle royales work, isn't it? You're always on a clock. There's always something you've got to be thinking about, how you can make
I mean,
that
you
next
have
move.
to
Consider
figure
actually
there's someone
pinging
in this
the inside
camp right here,
respawn
right?
beacon here. Honestly, not a bad choice. I mean, Buriram, I think they're kind of looking for it. I'm not sure if Gopgaps has, you know, given them the info with the heartbeat sensor or anything like that. But
Can't get a touch on much over there.
It's too risky. They're just going to try and rat it out a bit further north. And then looking over at Truth Esports, yeah, unfortunately, as you said, this is probably one of the less aggressive lobbies, so less people to be found on the outskirts. You know, if you're trying to be an edge team and trying to pick up those key, KP early on. So other teams like 20th Guaranteed, I'm not sure if they're necessarily doing this or just
See,
because
this is
you
the
know,
one
their-
thing that's
their drop
interesting
spot
about
is a
APAC
lot
South,
lower,
right?
And they knew they were
Because
with
some
the
of these
hard
teams, like, what's
north
X and
pool, they
Y
was
doing
never
right
gonna
now?
get there anyway.
Well, this will be the ring pool where we do start
Or
to
even
see
20th
things popping
Guaranteed,
off a
right?
little bit more. Casuals here in the epicenter.
Like, it's one thing if you're on the outside and you're
We've
hunting
got
for
a few
kills, but
teams
they're just
to worry
chilling.
about. ADL
Vibing.
is just out to the west. MDY White to the south of epicenter. And it seems as
And I
though
don't
they've
know,
kind
that's
of
just 'cause they
pushed
don't have enough
505 away from
information
Epicenter. 505
and
are happy
practice to
kind of
try
move
and,
on,
like,
give that space
predict
to
where the
casuals
circle's
and
gonna end.
take a little bit of a better position inside of the next zone. And obviously that's now what casuals is kind of starting to think about doing.
Or if it's something else, you know?
20th Guaranteed. Just looking for the skyward dive, courtesy of Trent. They'll be getting out of there just in time. MDY White firing a few shots off. Have I spoken too soon? Doesn't look like it. It looks like they're
They'll be able to separate,
relatively
but
okay for now, but this is going to be a bit of a dodgy
question is,
landing.
do they have
If
any
choose
space?
A spot that
Nope.
is already contested. Oh, they're in trouble.
no.
Rico goes down. There's a player standing right above them, and of course, across
Honestly, and Moist
the
isn't
ways
going to
as
let
well,
them
some
sit there.
third
They're going to go ahead and use the Dark Veil to go ahead and make sure this is their kill
that
and their
are
kill
diving
only.
on top of all these points.
Oh
and
my God,
20th
that was good.
Guaranteed are a punching bag.
easiest cleanup you've ever seen in your life. I like the wall as well. We didn't quite get time to go over that before, but I was looking at that position. I was thinking like, okay, probably better for Watson, but fantastic actually.
Where's
for a
Moon
Catalyst
at?
wall if you ever
I
need to
tried
pull
telling him
yourself
we're gonna
off
be
the
seeing so
safety,
much Catalyst,
or
and he
take
tried
fight
telling me
advantage.
no.
You can see that's exactly what they do. You can also tell Moist have given up the dome position and gone back to that initial position down the bottom of that southern building as well. But yeah, 20th guarantee. Look, yeah, even the UV bubble couldn't save him. I think
Everybody
was actually put on the floor before he, he barely got out of that skyward dive.
Yeah, pretty unfortunate.
Excuse me?
In the end for them, but I think they were in a pretty rough spot. They kind of had.
No, we gotta run that back, dog.
A YOLO play, something like that. X and Y.
Yo, he's on roll, right?
On the right here as well. No one has shields. They do manage to get some blues back.
That's
on,
Akuma, though.
Really, a lot of
that's your number 2 team.
Let's go. Just hearing the commotion heading in this direction as well and looking for a fight themselves.
Yeah, they're
slow
gonna get
down
the
a little
scan
bit.
on there. Focus attention coming out from the Seer. They are going to use the wall to try and disengage, though. See, Dark Veil goes
Didn't
out.
they have another squad on the other side of them, though?
Really need to
or
get
no?
Bats off,
I thought they did, right?
To dissuade, let's go. So well placed there, and LG are going to pull back, but they're going to run into 505.
Yeah, but I mean, the beauty of having a Catalyst is that you can put up this giant wall and at least obscure some vision. So it gives you something to play with for 30 seconds or so. X and Y looking a bit worse for
X and Y doing ratty things. It's all good.
Get that bat off. Seems to be okay in doing so, but we'll move over to Let's Go, who have eliminated 505. So our winners from game 1.
So our top 2 teams out.
Early on in the piece in game 2.
Yeah, you can see they're happy to just pull up and go straight through that wall. Obviously, it does give you a bit of a stun, but if you know you have the, an overwhelming advantage in the fight, you can just push through it and take the KP anyway. Hearing the Nemesis ring out as well, that's probably another thing that we haven't really talked about that much yet, Elfish, is it's a bit of a terror, this gun. Yep. Oh wow, okay, so there you go. So even though the what was it, like zone 3 did actually start pulling a little bit more north, yeah, that initial prediction of it does like to go down to that sort of southern side of Climatizer, and that is where we're seeing it. So but yeah, going back onto the Nemesis there, I mean, this gun is so strong right now, and even though the Vault has gone into the Crafter, which means you're not necessarily seeing as much energy ammo out there, just because you can't pair it up with the SMG. Most people at the moment picking up the R99 with the buff to that. The car is now sort of, I think, a little bit secondary in terms of the SMG rankings. But yeah,
it definitely seems like 99 car,
is
right?
Pretty nuts. If you catch someone out in the open with it, you can take them down in a couple of bursts.
Yeah, we did see Buriram using that a little bit earlier, and I think that was putting DEWA in a bit of a spot, but we'll keep touching on that as we go through. ADL Wolves right now have lost one member to Truth. Mosu does get that knock, so starts things off nicely in that engagement. It's a pretty important one actually for Truth, because they're still trying to find a way into the zone. That's what Casuals is doing right now as well. They're going for the aerial route, and they've
I'm going to try and find room over here.
Landing right on top of a team. Oh, they didn't even know they were there. I don't think that is not good. It's just YC from.
How were they able to stay covered?
But done a lot of work there, and in the end, it's going to be mutually assured destruction for both X and Y and Casuals. Maybe it was a couple of X and Y members. I don't know. Either way, both of them are gone. And Let's Go. Look at that pile of boxes. He wants the bat. Can't get it. But either way, Let's Go. They'll be happy with
that thing's like
part of the zone
wound up,
they've now carved out for themselves.
Yeah, this another team that we are not as familiar with. We obviously haven't seen them, in as much ALGS action before, but certainly they seem to be showing up and putting a lot of pressure on a region and the teams within it that are known for their team fighting ability.
Well, Let's Go is more than happy to just take a bit more of a relaxed approach now. They don't have anyone directly competing with them for positioning. MDY White is just around the southern side of this wall.
Fake gone
down as well.
Bro, 11
but it
teams
sort of feels like we're in the
left.
eye of the storm right now. Once this zone starts moving again, that's where the kill.
There's only what, 2 buildings? One building has 2 floors,
Yeah,
right?
the 11 teams we've got there'll be a couple that have to move out, the ones in the
Oh, and I
domes,
guess technically-
but also those who have been playing southern positions
There's also a roof.
as well.
So 3
you've got,
floors.
Like MDY White and Let's Go down the bottom there. That's it. Even the teams like Moist.
Honestly, they're in a pretty solid spot. ONIC, though, fortified it
area
underneath in a pretty
building,
good,
that could be tough
decent
for them
position.
as well, especially considering all the catalyst abilities they're going to have to wade through to get there.
Yeah, starting to get pretty busy in the old climatizer at the moment. DEWA United have managed to find their way to, I guess, a pretty good spot here. This is almost reminiscent of 505 in the last game in the sense that they're kind of the only team like positioned on their side of the zone. No one's really interested in being out there. It's obviously quite open territory, a bit no man's land if you're not inside of this little. What do you even call it? Are these caravans? I think I always call them caravans.
Yeah, look, there's a lot of different names for them. Caravans, crawlers, RVs, you know. Pick and choose whatever you like.
Pick your poison. Yeah, but I mean, if you're not in that, there isn't really a whole lot of cover around that area of the map, basically, was the TLDR. And so no one's really interested in kind of contesting them for that position, which might actually end up leading them toward something like a pretty easy top 3 if they are able to keep their heads down and no one sort of pushes in their direction, which I don't think is going to happen. Most teams now really focusing on climatizer. Rotations have come through, and pretty much everyone is contesting that area of the map.
So
yeah, I mean, those teams down from the bottom, the 2 that we mentioned, Let's Go and MDY.
In a pretty solid spot as well. They're underneath Moist.
From the teams. All of those teams, you can see they're sitting inside Southern Climatizer building. You can see Buriram just
bro, there's so much
like the tiniest little bit of space they've got down the bottom here.
Only problem is all these people have so
now.
like, especially on this side of the building, have so far to go.
He's gonna survive there.
The good thing is for Moist, most of the building above them is cut off from line of sight from where everyone else is.
Alive. I was on Golden Sage, which of course.
And Buriram isn't going to be able to see them.
The lone survivor down there.
Buriram's across the way of the donut.
You know, the RV out there, that's in a pretty good spot, but they've only got 2 members alive. Unfortunately, Bastion went down, and so Lahim and Kissan's left alone now. But luckily for them, I think all the teams coming out of the building in Climatizer are going to be too busy worrying about themselves. Moist. Make a preemptive.
I like the early push here for Moist.
Found a little bit of space here.
You basically get to zone out the team that was above them.
Teams are gonna have.
ONIC's trying to go the opposite way, more on the lava side.
Yeah, Buriram down there in the lava, not having a great time. ONIC just firing some pot shots off at them.
Truce to duo right now.
For now, with Esports just at the back end of that DEWA United caravan are going to have a problem. It's inside the ring that have landed right on top of them. A 1-for-0 trade so far, but it gets brought back as Nelson goes back down inside the ring, just down to Nuku right here, and is eventually finished off. DEWA United come in for the cleanup.
Trying to put up a fight.
Mosu's still alive somehow.
He's on top of the RV just by himself at the moment. He does have gold armor, so you know at least he can sort of quickly get the health and back up when he's taking damage. But yeah, now some people have started spotting him out. I think it's ONIC and Eternal.
Moist is going to move in and be able to take this actually. This is big. That gives him a lot of coverage.
Both the DEWA United guys before he got taken down by Moist. He actually 2v1'd them. They were sitting in the caravan shielding, and he just rocked up and said, "Hey, got a couple of extra points
Moist
on the
now
way
should
out.
be able to zone in the rest of the squad."
Now, with that said, obviously Moist have rolled into a really solid position.
This is a really good spot for Moist here. Unless they get caught out in the open here.
You already see one of the members down here. It's empty on the floor.
Buriram goes out though.
Group of Waltzy. ONIC finished off. Buriram down as well. It's the final 2.
Is it ONIC?
And it's Eternal Photon
it's
that
Eternal
will walk
Photon.
away with the win. In the end, they deny it from Moist.
That's
perfectly timed. And they're happy with that.
And it was like the 2 teams barely even saw each other, right? I mean, you know, the walls were up. I think they had the Seer ults down. I didn't quite catch whether they managed to snipe the other Seer ult out, or if Moist even had that available, because of course that is the other extremely important thing that we really have to try and keep our eyes on this split, because it's why we're seeing so much Catalyst. It's why we're seeing so much Seer, because together that combination is just ridiculously good right now. If you can put up
Yeah,
a
and I
wall,
mean, Catalyst gives you the most
and
value
get your
out of your scan
your exhibit,
characters.
your serial into a safe spot where the other team can't shoot the diamond, because you've got to remember that's destructible, right? You can take that out and take that information away from the other team. If you get that down in a good spot, you're just in a ridiculously good position. It's
Holiday was
it's
on
basically like a
ANT,
one-way smoke
okay.
that you'd maybe you'd call it that, Elfish, right? Where one team can see the other team, right, with the serial, and the other team is just kind of blindly spraying, and they hope they hit a bullet, and then you're like, oh, okay, I can see the ping of like the armor color there. All right, I'll spray in that position. And you're just in a horrible position if you manage to snipe out their serial and you still have yours up and alive.
Yeah, well, good little finish there from Eternal Photon. They were, I think, 5th, or I mean, equal 5th with a couple of other teams going into that game. So that's going to jump them up quite substantially. Again, though, I mean, I will mention, obviously, Moist and ONIC having top placements. I'm not sure exactly what order they both got knocked out in. I mean, Moist was 2nd, ONIC might have been 4th or 3rd, something like that. But in any case, once again, back-to-back inside the top 5 is going to keep you quite high up in this lobby. The big quote-unquote losers out of that one, probably 505. We saw them get knocked out pretty early on in the piece. I think they took a 15th. So I would say it's going to be difficult for them to hold on to first place in this lobby after game 2, if that's the case.
Yeah. That said, you know, ONIC, another decent performance by then, them getting into the top couple once again. So they'll obviously be doing okay. Moist again had, you know, that was a top 5 or something finish for them, I think. Yeah, it's honestly been a couple of familiar names to us, managing to stay up the top.
I mean,
during the
I feel
first
like
couple
APAC
of games.
is one of those regions where the top is so
yeah, I guess
packed.
we'll get some score updates at some point for you guys. We don't have them right now. Apologize for that. Just one of those things with every new season. When they change things around on us a little bit, and we'll try and get that up and working as soon as possible. But in the meantime, yeah, we'll just have to go off memory, I guess.
Yeah, it's just one of those things, isn't it? Yeah, look, what else is there? I guess we've got one more game of World's Edge to sort of touch on. Then, you know, things change up a little bit, but I think that's relatively by the by. I'm not sure that really impacts too many of these teams at this point, right? I mean, it's no longer a talking point that Storm Point is the new map in the pool. It's been around for long enough now.
Yeah.
I do, though, kind of get the sense, and, you know, watching these replays has kind of reminded me that, like, Moist is kind of just on another level in this lobby. Like, the confidence at which they play, the pushes that they make.
I mean, Moist just plays the same game, whether
like
they're...
and that's a scary Moist to be putting into day 1 of
on the
Split,
regional stage, the international stage.
As the Split goes on.
And not every team can say that,
Yeah,
especially
I'm
this
trying to
level.
remember if you were there for that interview that we had with Ulti last Split, Elfish, and we were talking to him about their confidence, and obviously this was a point where, you know, Moist hadn't been doing quite as well. They were still close to the top, but, you know, they were a little off the pace. And they were saying that it sort of, you know, that pressure had gotten to them a little bit, honestly, and the expectations that the regions had gotten to them a little bit. But then when I talked to them at LAN, it was a completely different story. They were locked in. They were very happy.
I mean, I would
with how they'd
imagine
been
once
playing.
the region started talking about,
you know,
other people.
They'd really gotten over
They didn't
those,
feel like the
I wouldn't
stress
say
was all on
nerves,
them.
I guess, but
Probably
you know,
helped,
gotten
right?
over, you know, sort of having that weight on their shoulders from being that go-to team in the region. And now that they are there, yeah, exactly. We're seeing the results of that. You know, a second in this game, and again, doing really well in the first game, and that's just consistent quality coming out of these guys that I don't think will stop. Not in splits, not in regional finals, and not in LAN finals.
Yeah, so once again, actually, ONIC making their way inside of the top 3, which is actually even better than what I had thought. I thought they finished in 4th. Buriram, Truth to round out 4th and 5th. A little bit better from DEWA United, though. They didn't have a very good game 1, so good to see them bounce back pretty quickly for game number 2. I would almost make the argument that if they would
I would feel like when you're in these lobbies, going out early is like
I think sixth from the position that
Doubly
they were in
tough because it's not just you don't get any
got 1 or
points,
2
but then you're
kills
sit.
in and around that caravan before
Like
they did
Iron
get
Blood
down.
Gaming only played 6
but they
minutes.
did just get caught off by that one rat play, but I think it was Mosu, right, from Truth that managed to get that one over the line. So something to keep an eye on later on.
You know what I mean?
At the end of today, if we get to the point where maybe Truth has an extra 1 or 2 points, then that could have been the difference maker potentially in getting some overall split points as well, which is
Chat, I'm gonna go refill my water real quick.
Yeah, a bit of a hero play there from Mosu. Yeah, as you said, you know, we're pretty used to Storm Point at this point. Honestly, I think most of the pros, it's actually their preferred map, Storm Point over World's Edge. So, you know, that's kind of interesting. I think we're already sort of starting to canvas where we go next. You know, do we move to a 3-map competitive map pool and start bringing in, you know, Broken Moon or World's Edge, or do we start, you know, shifting around and keeping it fresh? Which I think, you know, honestly, it's one of those funny discussions, right, where it's like, you know, the casters and the audience probably think one way, and we're like, oh yeah, I'd love to see something new. But the players aren't necessarily on the same page because, you know, there's a lot of factors. Those maps have a lot of differences that mean the game plays out on a competitive level very differently on those other ones. So it'll be interesting to see where the ALGS as a whole decides to go in terms of maps.
Yeah, indeed. I mean, I think 2-2-2 could be pretty good. Get 3, 1 more, and we'll see how that goes. But anyway, that's a discussion for greater minds than mine. Time for us to take a short break. We'll have scores for you on the other side, so don't go too far away. We'll be back right after this.
Locked and loaded. Drop, shocked, and rocked. Say hello.
game yet, chat? Nope. Bro, this seems rough, man. They had all those restarts in between the first 2 games. We're an hour and a half in and we played 2 games. Granted, they're still probably on some sort of delay, so they might already be in the 3rd game right now. But still, it's kind of crazy. Insane pace, like not really what you'd expect, you know? But like, what you gonna do? All right, here we go. Or we get another.
Locked and loaded. Drop shocked and rocked. Say hello to the 401st. Get ready for a world of hurt.
Since when are there tanks in Apex Legends?
Kill confirmed. Gonna add you to the list.
Hello, welcome back for ALGS. It's APAC South. It's time for game number 3. Hopefully we don't need another 3 resets, but seems like things are cracking on quite nicely. 2 games down, Gino.
Why would you have to?
At the top of the lobby, doing very well for themselves. I think we've got the scores to have a look at here, and you'll see just how well for themselves they are doing. It is starting to build a bit of a gap. 37 to 23 for Eternal Photon and ONIC. So it's a bit of a jump.
Scores updated, chat.
Yeah, I mean that's big numbers after 2 games.
You'll always
right?
be able to use
You're
exclamation
averaging
point
18
now
points,
if you ever come in and watching on.
There. Very, very solid.
Hanging on board with us.
I think the description you had before of basically them just being on another level to everybody in APAC South right now is kind of playing out. We'll see if it that translates over to Storm Point. The differences between those 2 maps, how the teams play them, which teams.
They keep talking about Storm Point, but we like still dead ass have a whole other game.
But yeah, look, Eternal Photon. And had an okay sort of split last time, so the fact that they are up doing well is certainly a bit of an improvement for them. But then, ONIC also doing well. DEWA, bit of a retooled roster a little bit further down. Iron Blood Gaming, obviously struggling so far. They were well down. I think they were in 19th or something.
2 games in.
So a bit of a rough start to them so far. We saw them get taken out quite early there at Climatizer, just not quite working out the rotation, that well, which is a little bit surprising, honestly.
Yeah, if you're running into Moist at that point in the game, I'm not sure that there's too much you can really do, but hopefully things will go better for them here in game 3 as we jump into our final game of World's Edge for the day. It is just the 1 lobby that we've actually got for you today, not 2. So next week we'll be back with 6 games from 1 lobby, 6 games from another lobby. Big day, but just for today, only the first 6 games for us to take a look at. But here we go into the last one on World's Edge, and another bit more of a central pool this time, although a little bit more of a northern pool than what we did actually see in the first game. So we're not expecting to see a Lava Siphon finish here, that's for sure.
No, certainly not. With the teams that have got that information already starting to work around. Yeah, the fact that it's kind of centered on those sort of middle mountains there, Elfish, is definitely an interesting one. It could be one of the circles that sort of finishes sort of to the southwest of construction. So like just sort of nestled in the northern edge of those mountains in the middle of the map there. But yeah, look, definitely an interesting one. We'll have to wait and see.
Yeah, indeed. Now, just as far as some quick updates, the Sharp Riser view may have noticed 57 players came into this game. Obviously, since the start of the day,
I missed the stats.
Fate
the bottom.
have been playing a member down, but this time 20th guaranteed also down a player. I think Rico was having some issues.
Oh no,
he was unable to get
Gibraltar.
in. Yeah.
One Gibraltar we had in the lobby.
Well, he is not here. He is not here for this game at least. Hopefully he'll be sorted out by the next one, because I know he was here earlier, so sort of keep an eye on that as we head back into Storm.
The Seer.
We're already starting to see a few shots getting exchanged around Fragment West, around construction, where you mentioned, and in fact I think Moist might be heading in that direction shortly, but they've decided to head toward Harvester instead.
Yeah, well, Moist.
There's no way they give Seer back-to-back nerfs, right?
Console, this time. So they're actually, I think they may be heading towards the one in Harvester.
Even with it, as much as everyone's complaining about how Seer is way too strong.
If there's one in a neighboring POI, and it kind of makes sense to go there first, they'll just do that to give themselves the certainty about where that is happening. But 505 have come in there at exactly the same time.
Yeah, we'll take a look here at construction already, because this is now 3 teams already taking up residence in that area of the map. You've got MDY White on the roof, Golden Sage hanging around on the 2nd top floor, and then inside the ring.
Is there another third team here? I couldn't tell. It looked like people were disappearing.
A little bit of room still for maybe one more team on one more of those floors, but it is starting to get busy. It's kind of like trying to find an apartment here in Sydney when you're looking for a place to rent. You go there and there's about 50 people lined up for the viewing. So.
Oh, dude, don't. I'm literally doing that right now, Melbourne. It's gonna be hell. Yep. Just like it could be for these players here. And you know, I saw them pinging, you know, on the map, and I
50
think
50 people for a viewing.
They had some pretty similar deductions from me. Unfortunately, ONIC have
I don't know about
taken
on that.
the spot I believe they wanted to play, which is just a bit below construction. Sort of, you know, in the RVs that are down near those bins, just in front of the mountain, around the bridge that goes across the lava down there. But yeah, these teams that are in construction, I think, are going to certainly have a good spot for a couple of zones. But it's a weird building to play in, isn't it? Because you have direct access to all these other floors that the other teams are playing on. You also don't have, you know, it doesn't matter if Catalyst or not, you can't block the sides of that building, so people are going to have angles on you a lot of the time. It can be a tough place to play from.
Well, here's 505. Who are just sitting outside of Landslide, and they'll be aware that there is at least a team in there. It's actually Ironborn Gaming that's holding in Landslide.
Iron Blood Gaming?
Popcorn is holding the train tunnel. So, pretty busy around that area of the map as well. And you've also, in a sense, got to be potentially aware of ADL Wolves, who are now actually skyward diving in that direction as well. But they've got the info, there's a team in Landslide, and so they've turned around and gone back to staging, which will at least relieve a little bit of that pressure in that area of the map. But definitely the western side of this next zone is going to be an interesting one, because there's a lot of choke points that teams are going to have to work their way through to get into Phase 3.
Hermigerd going down to DEWA there.
Yeah, I mean, Hermigerd comes in as just a duo, so
yeah,
I don't know that you can expect too much.
Deck was stacked against him from the start, unfortunately, here in Game 3. You know, we were talking about, you know, can they improve on that 24th place from last season?
Thinking about trying to sit down with DEWA's coach,
I guess
maybe.
Not that, I don't know, actually, because obviously you're not qualifying for Split 1 next year. I think it, you know, the how the invites go out for that is a little bit different to, you know, qualifying from Split 1 to Split 2, but either way, you know, you still want a good performance.
Yeah, definitely. Get some confidence heading into the end of the year. Either way, though, we'll turn back over toward construction. I just don't know that there's going to be a whole lot happening here, short of a few pot shots here and there. It sort of feels like a bit of an int right now if any of these teams were to try to take a fight against one another. Especially
How does
knowing
qualifying
that
work
there's 3 teams
for-
there, and no doubt, no shortage of teams that would be quite interested in a third party in
Give
that
me an
area
invite
of the
next
map if
season,
they
or
were
do
to
we
get
not
the
know that?
opportunity. So it seems like there's this little
Is that like a
gentleman's agreement
behind the
from
scenes thing?
everyone in that tower to keep one another relatively unharassed.
For now.
And I mean, how easy is it really going to be able to challenge, or how easy is it going to really be to challenge when you have to try to, you know, get past all of this catalyst goo on your way to whatever floor you find yourself trying to contest? I just think it's not. You're not going to do it. It's just not worth it.
Yeah, absolutely. Would agree with you on that one. As you can see, ONIC seemed to have read the circle very well. As we predicted, holding down that position. Moist, interestingly, you can see one of them on the bottom of that map. They're actually down crafting in Lava Siphon right now.
See,
so
but like,
I'm not sure.
again, what are casuals
I'd love to
doing?
know what the thought process was there, because you know, are they saying there's only one playable position and it's the one that ONIC is in right now? You can't, you know, sort of share any others. And they've decided.
Yo,
because of
ONIC
that,
has been
they're better
on
off
the
just sort of
ball.
playing south and then coming up through the Harvester choke.
Getting the
It's honestly a very interesting decision for a
Getting
team
the
who
zone.
obviously
like they've been
likes to
first,
play
like one of the
from,
first big
you know,
teams
dot
zone
spot as
everywhere they go.
much as they can, as quickly as they can, and they were pretty close to being able to do it, even after taking the detour to the Harvester ring console. But now they push back.
Yeah, I mean, if I had to take a guess, I think they probably would have felt like they're not really achieving a whole lot in the position that they were in. They were in that Harvester choke, and they were just sort of standing there. So maybe do something of value. Get a bit more in the backpack. Trent did go down in the meanwhile there. But again, this is a team that comes in as a duo, so I'm not sure that it's going to be a massive expectation for 20th guaranteed.
Yo, it's King!
Round in
What up, big dog?
particular.
No, I mean, this was the team that we saw Golden Sage taking pot shots from construction.
Dog, it's 1 o'clock for you. What are you doing up?
Is that a way they can try and get some extra points there, perhaps? Maybe
Smiles.
just charge their arms up a little bit, but yeah, Leaf is going to be in a little bit of trouble now. Looking at some of the other buildings over here. Ooh, streamer building. Okay, this is Eternal Photon versus Akuma.
Yeah, indeed. And so far, so good for Eternal Photon. Just a little bit of damage there onto Limo that gets picked back on up. Courtesy of a bat. It's always one of the more awkward buildings to fight in, isn't it? There's just so many different angles that you can play. Jump up and down. Limo's very low. Crusader's dropped as well, so this has gone from bad to worse, unfortunately.
I just fucked that up. I think I'm set. My bad, champ.
It's a 2v1 for them to play with right now. They're trying to just
I know.
delay
That
for a
looks
little bit
ignorant
because
when I do that,
Holiday
but I
is
wanted
low.
to snip that.
Test does come through. The res was on.
Oh, you on
It's
West Coast?
not
Fine, idiot.
unfortunately gone the way of Eternal Photon. Holiday's going to have to be quick to get back up onto that roof to save the day. I'm not sure, though, that he's got the mobility
Scram's
to do it.
got
And so
kids.
this actually could be
Scrams.
Akuma now coming back into the swing of things. They've managed to get, I believe, all 3 revives. No, they haven't got any, actually. It doesn't matter, though, because Eternal Photon all out of the picture. And so Limo and Crusader will both get picked up by Ulti, and there's no third party coming on through.
Bro just got fried,
No,
dude.
Not even
there's no
close.
There's no third party. There was, however, Anavrin from Let's Go, who actually ducked into the building by himself during that fight, and then went out again. And I'm not
Just have
sure
a
if,
little look.
I don't know if there were banners in the building or something, or if he was just trying to get some loot. But it was,
Who's scrimming on a Friday night?
maybe even just trying to get some free KP because he was the last one alive. Didn't feel like ratting out the rest of the game. Don't know. Anyway, it was a wild little incursion there. But yeah, as you said, Akuma definitely coming out on top there. You've got Crusader, he's been around for a little while now on the controller. You've got Limo, who I've actually seen him around more in terms of his feats in pubs and that kind of thing. Like he's I sort of know him more as like a streamer who goes for records, trying to get the fastest to 20 kills, all that kind of thing. So yeah, it'll be interesting to see how well he performs in the Pro League.
Yeah, I mean, I think he did have a little bit of a run with RTL recently, so it's not as if this is like his first rodeo per se. He'll be able to give it a crack with that experience under the back pocket. But yeah, I mean, it seems to be going
So
okay
Moist
for a
still
team. They had a
chilling.
good game 1. Not sure that their game 2 was quite as up to scratch, but game 3 so far certainly looking all right as well. And we'll see if they can get it over the line. Now, just a bit of a Moist update, because I know there's a lot of Moist fans. They still just playing Edge. They've ended up more or less exactly where they were. They were kind of holding in that choke point just coming out of Harvester earlier on, and you know, they went back down to Craft as you mentioned, and now they're kind of coming back in through that direction anyway. So just trying to, I guess, use their time a little
What
bit
were
more
you
efficiently
what were
than
you
kind of
scrimming?
standing there and holding the choke and wasting all of their resources.
Halo. Okay.
For no reason. If
Yeah,
they
it makes
must
a
have
little
felt
bit
that
of
the
sense.
southern side of the zone was relatively uncontested, so.
I mean, I'm surprised that. I mean, they're going through the zone right now. Actually,
So
They've
y'all
only
were
got
just
2
scrimming a
kilometers.
different
I'm
team?
surprised after all that crafting that they're not slightly better equipped than that. I guess it was maybe only the 1 or 2 crafting options that they had. Casuals, of course. I hope they're watching their backs, because that's where Moist is about to appear.
Yeah, Sway is turning around every now and then. But
Gotta keep
if
that
he
head
gets
on
the
a swivel,
timing
baby.
wrong, or if Moist gets the timing right.
I've
He's been spotted. Yeah, they've been spotted. But Sway is really under pressure right now. You can see the missile swarm coming in on top of him. He is not able to get a bat off at all. It ends up being a 1-for-1 trade, though. Waltzy drops in response. So Casual's holding quite nicely. Wall up here to provide just a little bit of cover.
Yeah, the
for
Casuals
both
have the
teams.
better shields
The
here.
longer they keep them there, the more their health beds are going to go down, right? You can see, obviously, full health. They haven't cracked through the shields of the other 2 members of Casuals yet, but Moist Esports are taking damage for every single second.
Yeah, you do
sit
have to
in
worry,
here,
though,
Pricey
the
and
longer
empty.
this goes, if
Now
the
kinda
third's
low,
gonna
they
come
have
in.
to be a little bit worried about these Catalyst walls as well.
Yeah, shot's starting to come through, though. Pricey looking to finish off the knock on to Sway, if nothing else. Popping himself a shield
Bro,
battery
can we
as
not
well,
move?
and gets it off really just in time. Flanked as well, but Waltzy's there,
not
back on
there.
his feet, gets the better of Sway, or finishes off Sway. I guess it's just the bleed out. He's not back on his feet. I'm lying. And I don't even know if Waltzy's going to get picked back up. I think he might bleed out at this point. Zaki has gone down. Fight does continue to persist. It's a long one here. Neither team really happy with the way that this fight is playing out. It's I guess kind of felt a bit more like a war of attrition.
Yeah, the longer
And
this
only now
game,
does it
the
start to
fight goes
dissipate.
on,
But
it's
yeah, Waltzy does get picked back on up, and I think that's just a
a
testament
tough spot
to
here.
the strength of this team, that somehow they can go from that position and get away with that and still have 3 players alive.
Incredible, you know, picking Waltzy up right at the last moment. As you can see, the zone was closing in on them as that was happening. Rice from Casuals did actually manage to get away. They were on about, I don't know, 5 health, I think, as they ran away. A single bullet probably.
X
would
and
finish
Y's
them
out.
off
Now we're
there.
in top
But
15
Moist,
and
as
it's
you see,
already this
obviously, were
packed.
a little bit more focused on just making sure they stayed alive and stayed as a 3, probably more important than the 1 KP for the moment.
Maybe a little bit too touch and go for what Moist would be happy with, but either way, they're through it. Now, though, they're going to have to deal potentially with DEWA United, who's on the northern side of that highway, just inside of Fragment East. And they're looking pretty well stocked. They've got 2 sets of reds and a potential gold, if they wanted it. ADL Wolves.
I didn't happen to see how far off is that purple from red.
Down toward the south, being gate kept a little bit here by Truth. I wonder if they've got a Skyward Dive available. ADL Wolves are at 87% of the Skyward Dive. I don't think they're getting it off, though, even if it does manage to charge. They're going to have to win this fight.
Alright, well, that's the stakes, I guess.
95%.
It is
In
purple,
this
purple,
tiny
blue to
little
a blue to
corner
purple.
with Truth coming around, the big bad wolf. They've even got the smoke canister on top of them there. Noel saying he's actually got the digi threat as well. So yeah, maybe
LG out in top right.
Threats ready to go. Maybe they've been past one of those new assault bins.
What's the choice here for ADL Wolves? Well, now that they've lost a member, I think they pretty much do have to commit to this. Not sure that the res is going to be coming through.
Oh.
You can see your XP is trying to push his way forward. Heck as well. But
The
they're
only
not able to
problem,
finish
though,
off that
is
engagement. They were really
I
in
don't
a
think
very,
you
very rough
hit
spot
one
there.
revive up.
And it's actually quite impressive that they've managed to get 2 knocks. I'll be honest. Truth,
But
though,
now-
get through it okay.
But now what do? The round's closing.
Yeah,
This ring is going to do so much damage. Mosu does realize he can't even stay for the final res. He has to try and make it out of the choke before this ring closes. Now, they are actually pretty close to the second ring, which means, you know, it won't close that quickly on them. But as you can see, it is so low on health. They're going to need
Oh my god, Buriram just got taken out hella quick. That's IBG,
I don't think
though.
anyone's really looking in their direction at the moment, at the very least, so they do have a little bit of breathing room. It's up to
That's
the
probably who
northern side
Golden
of the
Sage
map
is
where
looking
things
at
are really
there.
starting to
Golden
pop
Sage's gonna have to
off.
rotate out his building, though.
IBG pushing their way in toward MDY, and obviously
drops down on a team, and Phoenix just absolutely dumped on somebody's chest. Oh my goodness gracious.
Golden Sage doing okay for themselves right now, and ArcStar's going out as well are going to be a problem for whoever's on the receiving end of those. No connections, but it gives a bit of time for the medkit. Golden Sage can find that reset that they're looking for. Crypto Drone going out, EMP now down as well, and IBG definitely looking worse.
Jaro in
down
a tough
just
spot.
Jaro, who's trying to keep his head down and let this fight happen all over the top of him. It won't matter. Jaro goes down, IBG out of the
Better
picture,
game than they've
and
had
now
thus
it is
far,
Golden
though,
Sage
so.
against MDY White. The good shots come through there from the EVA 8. MDY White don't last very long. Golden Sage walks away from the construction with a big win.
But ONIC have finally decided to make their move. They don't need to stay in their spot any longer. They can start taking advantage of some of the chaos around them. The scout shots ring down from up on the highway.
Bro, I don't know why I ever let
Boys
Moon
looking also to
convince
try and
me
make
to try and
something
learn mouse
happen
and
here.
keyboard
They're
for
gonna take
Apex.
out inside the ring,
Look
and
at
that
that
just leaves
shit.
us with 4 squads. So we've got ONIC.
Gross.
They're looking pretty good here up on top of the highway. Moist, they're trying to get the res off here in the train car. You've got Golden Sage, who are taking a lot of damage actually from ONIC here. They've got to find a way to exfiltrate themselves from that situation. And then you've got the duo of Truth Esports, who, after all that nonsense going on with ADL,
So the Honda
down
Cash
the bottom,
Cups.
they're actually going to be in an okay
Is that
spot down the
online,
bottom,
I'm
but
guessing, yeah?
if they show too much presence, they might have a little
Has
bit
to
of a worry from ONIC on their west.
Yeah, I don't reckon they're trying to draw too much attention to themselves. They know that they're a duo. Raki with the Nemesis. Oh
don't answer
my
that question.
god. He has just beamed Mobius.
How many
and
people
Teddy.
usually sign up for
And
one of those,
Look,
though?
you were talking about it in the last game, but there is an example of it. I don't know that we caught that on stream, but they went down like a sack of bricks. And, well, Golden Sage now trying to desperately find those revives, but it's actually opened the
Plus,
door up a
he able
little
to
bit for Moist. in
Man, and
particular.
again,
Price is
dude,
starting to
ONIC is
come
a great
across,
spot
trying to
here,
find
bro.
some of those kills. Waltzy having been dropped, though, might give a little bit of a second thought, and Moist will reset. So, in fact, somehow Golden Sage might get out of this with 3 players alive.
That would be a pretty incredible feat, honestly. Well, actually, no, it looks like Teddy's gone down. So now that Moist are pushing on them, I'd say it's pretty unlikely.
Who's kill leader right
them.
now? Is it Moist?
Yeah, look, I think this game could end up as
Has
a
to be,
Moist
right?
v ONIC got a situation, or at least that is going to decide it. I would have thought with Truth Esports, they're currently trying to get a res on the other side of the map. ONIC looking, trying to work out where they've gone. Raki needs to get that heartbeat sensor online right now. They're actually using and committing the wall just to make sure this happens. And there we go, just a couple of PK shots coming out.
One,
from
at
Raki,
least make sure they got
to make
themselves
sure
those last
they do
couple
get those kills.
KP.
Secure the top 2. So now it's a 3v3 going into this, but ONIC are coming into it a little bit worse for wear.
Yeah, nice little armor swaps though come through from ONIC. That's what's kept them alive
Nice
until
shots.
now. Raki though having dropped. Pricey had some really good cross shots on ONIC when they were finishing off Truth, and that
It's
has
over.
really helped
Yeah,
Moist
that was
out.
a big
They've capitalized on
turn.
top of that.
Oh my
They've
goodness.
done a really good job on the timing. Finally, Moist is going to be able to find the win that they've been looking for all day long. It's been a
Big win
long
for
time
Moist.
coming. They've had
They had a lot of frags
3
too,
back-to-back
right?
top 3s. In fact, I think 3 back-to-back top 2s, and now as well a first on top of that. That said, you got to be happy if you're ONIC there as well. I mean, I think if I'm being honest, they probably will be a bit disappointed to see that game go by the wayside, given that they had Godspot for pretty much the whole time. But again, you know, it's like another top 3 in a row for ONIC as well. So job's kind of being done by them, just a little bit outplayed by Moist. But I didn't really mind the play that ONIC made. I think they made the correct call to try to deal with Truth there. They knew that if anyone was going to get third-partied by Truth, it probably was them. They did actually finish Truth off really quickly, but what I want to say there is that while they were looting, the smoke was up, but Pricey just
Force
somehow had this angle, and he
out of
really
team,
almost
hopefully
actually
get
got
the
a knock while they were
KP
looting in the smoke.
and get
I think
yourself
that's kind of
second,
what put that little bit of
then
extra
risk
pressure
being
on
third
top,
party to being third.
of them that Moist was
Facts
able
are
to
facts,
capitalize on.
chat.
If those shots don't connect and they're like full HP and full shields, maybe they have a bit of a better chance in that fight against Moist. But you know, once that fight did eventuate, you could see it was like always.
I mean,
on
I
the
feel
back
like,
foot,
right?
Unfortunately.
Yeah, yeah, it definitely was by that point. But it was an interesting decision to take out Truth first. I mean, if they were aware, which I would imagine they would have been, that Truth were a duo at that point, they've got one knock onto them. There's only one player left alive for Truth. It's going to take them at least another 10-15 seconds.
Because you're getting
to, you know,
2 point,
fully heal
is it 2
up,
point difference between third and second?
be at
right?
a point where they can actually challenge ONIC more.
Plus you pick up
you know,
a
at that
KP
point,
or two?
the ONIC just full send it at Moist and be like,
That's
you
a
know,
4
'cause
point
obviously they were
swing,
going
that's
for
big.
the guaranteed second play.
Over 6
yeah,
maps.
But do they just full send it Moist and try and say like, okay, let's just try and take this 3v3. We know they're a duo after. Just
Alright, we're
chances
staying
are
back
we'll
up,
just be
chat.
able to get, you know, shield swaps and take them on then. So it's a really hard one to weigh up.
Yeah. I mean, it's one of those things that, like, I think it's easy for us to sit here in the moment and say, oh, they should have done this, they should have done that. But, you know, when they're playing, they have less than 5 seconds to make that decision. And you have to communicate that to 3 members and execute it as well. I think they executed it about as well as they could have. They knew that they really had Truth under pressure there as well, because they were getting all of the damage from the catalyst sort of ticking through. Every now and then, so they knew that they were probably going to be able to knock them over pretty quickly, and I think that's why they made that decision rather than sort of letting them back up, let that boot off the neck. But yeah, either way, second place is definitely not a bad shout, and if the second place is
especially
Moist,
because
then, you know, it's about as good as you can expect.
Eternal Photon went out in 19.
I think ONIC and Moist have probably both done enough there on the first map for me to say they'll be walking away with the top 2 spot out of this lobby.
Yeah, it kind of seems like it, doesn't it? And certainly the 2 teams who performed well at LAN, I think they were actually, were they 6th and 7th at LAN, like right behind each other? Yeah, even on the world stage, as we have a look at the placement timeline.
Ironblood Gaming again out early.
With the first there in the 3rd game, World's Edge does belong to Moist. I mean, they have absolutely dominated the competition here on our first map, and I'm genuinely fascinated to see if they can back that up.
Or were they out Nate?
And I kind of don't see why, you know, they can't. I mean, sure, Lava Siphon is probably the best POI in the game across either of the maps, and it definitely does give them a little bit of a boost. But yeah, look, let's see
Eternal Photon.
just how far ahead of everyone else Moist are
at
right
19.
now.
I suspect it is quite a ways. 20
there it
points
is, 20
over
points
ONIC,
ahead for
and ONIC
Moist. Oh my
themselves
goodness.
are 14 points above 3rd.
Sheesh.
So, like we said, I mean, they're quite solidly in the top 2 position. I mean, yeah, there is some moving and shaking that could still be done. A couple of teams maybe still in a position to catch them. ONIC more so rather than Moist, you'd say at this point, but if Eternal Photon, Truth, or Akuma maybe have a good start to Storm Point, then they could potentially still nab a second place. But look, ONIC has been... I've really enjoyed what I've seen from ONIC today.
Yeah, I think ONIC has shown that they're going to continue to...
quite intelligent with their rotations. They've been quite fast with where they've been able to contest early on in the piece, and a lot of the time their initial reads,
and
their
they're not
very
doing
first
like
rotation
the
has been basically to God
get
spot,
big
if
kills.
not to God spot, basically to a position that's going to get them a top 5 really comfortably. So they've been really on point with the reads as to where the zones are going to be going, and that's obviously been of great benefit to them.
Yeah, it's kind of been this coming of age story, really, with ONIC, you know, getting to finally play their first LAN after being at a fairly high level for a long time during the ALGS scene, and finally cracking into that global stage. So it's fantastic to see that they've come back with some, you know, some confidence, and certainly, you know, they're playing well from that. IBG though, we talked about that roster swap at the start of today, and they still, you know, have not made any headway really here on World's Edge. So once again, going over to Storm Point, will that be a different story for them? Some of the other teams we saw there as well. I think for the first time we've got a full Filipino team in Fate. And unfortunately for them, been a little bit of a rough start.
Not a good day for them thus far.
Trying to still acclimatize themselves to this new higher level of play that they're going to be seeing during Pro League.
Yeah, I mean, that's always going to take, like I said, a couple of seasons when you make the jump from one level to another. It's the same conversation we were having about teams coming from APAC South to playing internationally. It's that exact same kind of time that you need. But either way, we need a bit of time as well. It's time for us to go to a short break. But on the other side of this, we'll be jumping onto Storm Point.
The thing that's tough is I feel like, if my memory serves me right, IBG, I think, was a better... Oh, I guess we can actually look it up, can't we? See if they are a better Storm Point team or not. Oh no, they're a better Storm Point team. Never mind. At least with the old roster. Do you think we see EXO re-enter APAC South, chat? Because I've been seeing them post a lot of other stuff. And I know when we chatted with Exodus, I know that they've got like a bigger staff and they're working with a lot of different things right now. Or if they're like waiting, testing the temperature sort of thing. Waiting to see if somebody else will jump in. I don't know. It's got me intrigued. Oh, that was their placement that was better on Storm Point. Their kills were technically better on World's Edge. Total points per game. Yeah, it was better on World's Edge as well, so that could potentially spell trouble for the squad at IBG, but then again, what's one day, right? Especially in a day where even if you try and say, you know, we're cutting it off at
I plan on getting under your skin.
I'll break your heart.
19, the last 9 teams or something. Too much.
Hello, welcome back to ALGS. It's APAC South. We're into game number 4. That means it's Storm Point time, and I think
at the
we
start
are
of
ready
the
to
season.
jump into game as well. Genome, it is underway, so we better get cracking on into that one as soon as possible. So far, so good for Moist as they top the lobby at the moment, but we'll see whether or not maybe anyone's going to be able to catch them.
I wonder why we lost the
ONIC,
other
probably
stat
the team
tracker
to do it. If anybody would need to have a good start to Storm Point here, and kind of also hope that Moist falls off the ladder a little bit.
Yeah, well, as you mentioned before, you know, they had a little bit of a slow start to last split, and that's what kind of caught up with them in the end, and they were forced to have that incredible performance in the regional finals to make their way through to the global stage, where it kind of all worked out for them. But here, it's looking good for them to have a 25-point start.
Yeah, I mean, Moist also made a change when they picked up
put that
Bryce.
on the resume. As you can see, we've had a ring scan
once the
already.
season started, or was that
Ring
preseason?
console, and interestingly, where is that one?
That might have
go?
actually been
can't
preseason.
go to the Cascade, the actual, you know, waterfall. Cascade
I feel like that was
Falls.
during the
Does
season,
it end
right?
up somewhere inside checkpoint? Oh, don't know. I feel like this one is probably a little bit more likely. I want to say south of Cascade Falls, but this is genuinely quite a hard one to read.
I guess we'll give you another little ring pull before we lock it in. But maybe a good idea would be to just see where ONIC is going, because they've been really good with their calls so far today, and they have gone just south of Cascade Falls into one of the oranges there. So that is, you know, maybe something that you can take a little bit of info from, but they're actually continuing. They haven't stopped. They're still moving their way, and they're going to run into HRMGRD. This is going to be an early fight happening in a potentially very crucial area of the map.
Yeah, which is interesting, because, like, will they realize quickly enough that it's just a duo? And, you know, because if they do, surely they're just going to pull up on them. You can see HRMGRD obviously
I mean, I feel like they are going to at least take a
very
look.
hesitantly there, running away immediately, and now ONIC are like, okay, whatever, they're, you know, not a problem for us. We're just going to go for our preferred position with Moist. They've stayed around to, you know, maybe they were just crafting up a little bit. They didn't have the ring console this time. So they are now looking directly at ONIC. Ooh, could be a bit of an early one. Well, you know, first versus second scuffle here.
I would be surprised to see it.
Looks like it should have been more than what it hit for.
Cascade Falls and aren't looking to really push the issue here. So ONIC are going to be okay for now. Just chilling up on this high ground above.
That was like
that set of
only
buildings.
missed by
You've got,
like
inside
half
the
a
ring
second.
in one of them, and Ironblood Gaming in another. So
Because
quite
of
the
servers
congregation just out to the western side of Cascade Falls. Maybe gives us a little bit of a clue again as to where this zone could potentially end up. It's one of those map areas of the map that I find can be quite difficult to play, because there's a lot of rotations kind of converging into one spot, and so if you're in there, it can very quickly get quite busy here for someone like Ironblood Gaming. They need to be quite careful,
especially because they don't have much, right? They're rocking the triple blue.
Always got to be careful when there's this many heavy hitters around,
and you're not going to be able to upgrade
teams,
your
you know,
ammo
from
much, or your armor much, I should say.
Those central positions in the map pulling up. A lot actually pulling into the western side of Cascade Falls. You know, usually if you're a Cascade Falls team, one of them will drop over there, grab a bit of loot, come through, do the spiders, and then end up in sort of Cascade Falls.
Yo, chat, we've been running all week, bro. I am big, dude. I appreciate y'all coming through and vibing.
Yeah, definitely.
Even if you're not chat, man, just
housing some decent teams. You've got IBG, you've got
Fucking
Inside the
guys.
Ring, and then you've also got Buriram United as well.
I'm just keeping an eye on a couple of those teams still coming in from the northern side of the map. Eternal Photon, definitely a bit of a talking point today, as well as Akuma. So two teams that need a decent start, I think, to Stormpoint to really solidify the position that they're in. Might actually run into one another relatively early on in the piece. Popcorn have set up pretty nicely as well.
You can scan this area.
Looks like they're going to have to do too much moving until a little bit later on. Some shots do come through from HRMGRD, the duo. But as we know, Cascade Falls, it's got a lot of buildings. You've got a lot of room here, a lot of space for a bunch of teams. And already 4 teams setting themselves up in Cascade Falls. And I expect we'll probably see 1 or 2 more once those teams from the south or from the north rotate their way in.
Yeah, over towards Bean here, where X and Y are going
over there.
505. Horizon action as well, with V on 505 picking up that. As well as X and Y actually, so could see black holes from both the teams coming out here, potentially. Not sure if either of them have done the IMC yet, but Interestingly, I mean, why are X and Y not taking this? Do they maybe feel they don't have a good position to do it, especially after after the start of that fight? But as you can see here, more fights going on around the map. This one's over at Launchpad, where we've got MDY White going against Casuals.
Yeah, Rico's also just hanging around here as well. He's trying to get away from Casuals. That's who they're actually chasing right now. They've completely disregarded MDY White, who let them go, basically. So poor Rico doesn't get to play the last game because of some issues, and then gets knocked out in 20th in this game. So 20th guaranteed do live up to their name in this particular instance. Oh, Mingyu!
Did they get him?
Oh no, they got him! They got the Valk!
Yeah,
they got the Valk.
They got him, and they're falling back to earth.
Oh,
and that's going to be the end of Casuals. It's just Rice left alive. Won't last long.
Dude.
MDY White. Great stuff. Beam Mail Sky.
That is so tough,
That's worked
man.
out really well. And Casuals, I guess they get a little bit of a comeuppance for chasing the solo instead of dealing with the trio.
And it was a risky Valk ult there from Casuals.
I mean,
and
it was, but they just got done with the fight,
We're seeing
right?
that more and more, honestly. You know, one of the funniest things I actually took away from watching Charlie's, you know, Moist Critical's recap of watching his team at LAN was how worried he got every single time they popped a Valk ult. And it, you know, maybe sit there and think of it like, you know, it really has changed. All the nerfs that have come through towards the Skyward Dive for Valkyrie have really changed how easy it is to take people out, and how risky it is if you're popping them, especially in the zone like that where you're taking extra flesh damage and stuff at the same time. So it's really not as guaranteed of a movement tool as it used to be.
Yeah. That might be part of the reason why we're not seeing as much Valkyrie. But another engagement happening out here over by the mill. X and Y up against 505, and it started well for X and Y. We've gotten that knock onto a couple of the members of 505 now. It's just Mexus left alive.
Right, but there's 2 left still.
Gotten
2v1, right?
Completely finished off. And V bleeding out, but Mexus inside of the zone, so not going to be having a very fun time of things here. It's actually given X and Y the time to reset and get the revive, bring it back to 3 members. They can force the 3-on-1. I dare say at this point, Mexus is really just hoping to try to survive. Has dropped the Bangalore ultimate just to try to provide some space, but yeah, look, best case scenario for Mexus here, X and Y are happy with those 2 kills, and they decide, you know what, we don't have the meds to stay in the zone too much longer, we're just going to get out of here.
So 505, you got Mexus trying to stay alive, but
time to go. Can Mexus even get those banners? Obviously, here you can see he's really struggling as far as the meds go. With X and Y on the back of him.
Did he just dipset and get away with it?
He's not cooking. No. He's cooked.
He is not cooking. He's being cooked. YC is on the chase.
I was about to say, if he manages to get away from that, he's
but Mexus is pretty quick. He's zooming along.
He is. Well, he's got the bullet time passive, right? Of course, after taking those last couple of shots.
There it goes again.
And oh yeah, he's still got. I was about to say he's still got a couple of smoke canisters in the chamber, ready to go.
Yo, Mexus is trying to do it
just to try and confuse it a
hey,
little
Alexa,
bit.
play Mission Impossible.
Puma's looking for him though. They've turned around. They're just a little bit further ahead of Mexus. He's kind of gotten past them.
Orc can't saw him. And as soon as he tries to get that cell off, ooh, still alive somehow. Oh man, this is like a horror game right now for Mexus. He's just got there's people on every side of him trying to hunt him down.
7 seconds on the smoke. I'm not sure that he's going to be able to get another one off here. Surely has to be going down in just a second. The only reason he's still alive is because he's got that gold armor. Nice fancy footwork from him. Bullet time passive again. Smoke up in the sky. And he's using bushes for cover, all right? This is where we're at now, okay? If you're ever using bushes as cover in Apex Legends, you know something has gone wrong. And unfortunately for Mexus, something did go very wrong. He's finished off. X and Y will turn around and go back the way they came. Not interested in taking the fight against Akuma, so Akuma get the spoils of war.
Yeah, YC, lucky.
Only ring 2.
He manages to get out and doesn't catch too many stray bullets from Akuma either. So those teams will be heading back towards the ring and back towards pretty much everyone else who is sitting within the Cascade Fall buildings within that ecosystem at the moment. Still actually a couple of buildings that are up for grabs.
They show where this thing was starting
to, you know, doing a sort of split hold or something like that.
Looking like it might end or no?
Why I'll go up against LG here on the eastern side of the map.
Yeah, already that initial knock. And Feiju wants to capitalize on top of that. Artstar to try to break the door down, but they're going to take an alternate route.
Gonna take a nice look side angle.
Not connect. Mingyu going to take the opportunity to pop a medkit here, and LG will try to survive as long as possible. Maybe there's an angle here for a quick res. I'm not sure they're going to be so bold as to look for that, but they'll just try to find it. And that's going to be the go signal for MDYY. They knew that that was not an option that they should allow, and they punish. Let's go down.
Ooh.
No res available.
Yeah, the
95 seconds.
we were talking about earlier, though, have come in from the zone, and a couple of well-placed arc stars could potentially spell some doom here from MDYY. Mingyu just gets a syringe off before he goes down to zone. He feels like he can't really move out of the building right now because
they said it was one of the teams rocking and duo when they got in, right?
Flesh health there, and so LQ Dud is going to have to come back. It's going to be a 2v2.
Good shots in there from Mingwei to start the engagement, but you're going up against some red shields and really starting to get low on the side of MDYY now. Got themselves at least one good knock onto my end too. So that brings it back to the 2-on-1. 23 ticks to try to clutch this one out, or potentially to just escape. And it looks like the latter will be the option that is taken. So MDYY get out of there relatively okay in the end. They've got the banner. They've got Feiju's banner. I'm not sure they're going to be able to find a revive here. Maybe if they go back out into the zone, then they'd actually run into 20. He's playing behind them.
MDYY.
Yeah, Moby Res isn't in the crafting rotation at the moment by the looks of it either, so that's not. Oh, actually no. By the looks of it, on the screen, yeah, they do have some res beacons. So if they can find a spot to pull those off, they might be fine. Will they run into 23 ticks just below them? Very, very possible.
I would say if they're going to do it, they're going to have to do it pretty soon because they're on actually a little bit more of a quieter side of the zone. If they start to
but they need to make sure they do it before it gets
just like what we're seeing up on the northern side of the map right now. ADL is chasing Golden Sage. They've already found themselves a knock.
Because you already have those that are like close, starting to rotate
Phoenix,
up, right?
Moist helping out in that department, and so it'll be just Mobius left alive for the team that is trying to escape. ADL Wolves don't look like they want to chase too hard. They're not exactly sure where Mobius is, but if they do get a sniff, if they do spot him out, yeah, he's been spotted now as well, because third-party shots are coming in.
Exactly. He's taking bullets from the southern side of him, so they'll see that and recognize what that means, and there we go.
Trying to figure out what he can
find him out to get the final kill. Meanwhile, over here in the cave, we've actually got 3 teams. Ironblood Game trying to hold people out here as Eternal Photon push in towards Akuma.
Yeah, Crusaders on the floor, but Limo and Orkchan are fighting hard, and Eternal Photon do go down. I don't know if that's out of the frying pan and into the fire, though, because Ironblood Gaming are lurking. Luckily, maybe for Akuma, IBG did lose player K. And so Jarrow and Panna are not actually as confident to try to take a fight right now as what they otherwise might have been. Had they had 3 members, it could have been a perfect third-party opportunity into the cave, but instead, they will just back away.
Well, if they had committed, they might have been okay there, Elfish, because I think once they were inside the cave, honestly, they probably could have, dealt with Akuma, who were kind of struggling at the end of that fight, but they left their building open, and Kilmate from inside the ring went over and took that out, and he was the one who got the angles and turned IBG into a duo. You can see now Moist trying to take even more space. They've recognized that HRMGRD were a duo sitting in that building, and they push through the Watson fences and take out the Wraith-Watson combo there. They've basically got Cascade Falls all to themselves now, because the ring has shifted over to where inside the ring are, to where Buriram were, to where IBG were holding a fantastic position before they gave it up.
Yeah, but with that said, obviously Moist isn't going to be able to stay there for too long. They're going to have to move on.
Who's dropping on MDY White?
MDY White might be meeting their makers in just a second. MDY White out of the picture. But DEWA United not looking too much better. Just
Did they drop one of them as a duo?
Res. Looks like it's going to be possible. I mean, it's a quiet side of the zone, so they should just be able to get that one okay. We're back to the fight as soon as possible. And IBG, well, they're out of the fight.
IBG out again.
Yep.
This time in the top 10.
A couple of teams there. I think that might have been ONIC as
But
well.
only
as
at 10.
Popcorn, over the side, combining to get rid of them. So as you can see there, Buriram pretty much in God spot right now. DEWA, they were the ones split holding buildings towards the southern edge of Cascade Falls. It's going to be a late rotation in there. MT looking behind him with the heartbeat sensor, doesn't spot DEWA out in time, or they might have potentially stuck around there and tried to deal with that duo. They're actually going to Valkyrie into the circle right now. Meanwhile, XMY are trying to deal with Akuma. There's a lot of interest in these buildings over towards the western side of Cascade Falls.
Yeah, I mean, as expected, it's where so many points of the rotation do end up meeting, so
Bro,
you have a lot of teams rotating their way through.
I'm sorry, man.
Only natural that
but the Nemesis is disgusting.
Engagement against one another. But for now, it seems like both teams are able to hold okay. You've got Akuma kind of on the roofs, X and Y inside. And yeah, Moist also on the roof over the top of Buriram. So this is a completely different building. But actually, I kind of like Moist's position on that roof. There's nice sort of hard cover behind them. The big cliff means that they really only have to focus on one angle. And they've got nice little pockets on that roof to play around.
Yeah, I think they're going to be okay during this circle. When the circle starts to close, that's going to, when it'll start being a little hairy for them. DEWA will start popping around from the side of the corner. Their Valkyrie.
So does Moist, because Moist has two teams in here, right?
Where Moist and Buriram currently sitting. Maybe they can find a spot underneath.
Or is it just Buriram?
That building potentially. And then you've got ADL up the top as well, who will have to push in there. A couple of the other teams, ONIC, they're currently sitting on top of Popcorn on the waterfall down to the south. So both those teams are probably going to look to Valkyrie in towards the circle as well.
Oh, shots starting to come through from X and Y, and they're also receiving a loss of those.
Not a bad push.
Quite low for one or two of those members, but
you can understand why.
Oh, they were sitting pretty until Orkchan just got beamed through that smoke, and that's not ideal at all. Akuma now suffering the brunt of this engagement. Arcstars are just going to keep a couple of those members at bay.
Reverse
tick still coming through from Akuma, but they are going to lose Orkchan, that's for sure. And you'd say Akuma are probably going to be out of the picture here in just a second. Limo somehow surviving. Still,
okay,
but eventually he's gone.
They don't make it out from there. Sojourn out from the eastern side of the ring there. ADL Wolves finally moving in. Moist still looking good on top of the building. ONIC, I said they might have the Valkyrie, but no, of course they have switched over to Bang, as we will see a couple teams do when they move from World's Edge to Storm Point.
Where's ADL Wolves
they're
at?
fine at the moment, but there's a lot of teams over on that the building on the western side.
Well, Moist in a very good position to potentially close this game out. Let's jump into a Moist listen-in and see what they are saying as they go through this game.
Ew.
Team here, hold up a team.
Bro, I swear
I think we can stop it. Stop it.
Can I get it?
Behind me.
Climbing, maybe?
Finish,
Kill nuts. I can wall. Can we get their door control? I can wall that through their door and we can just kill them.
Yeah, I hear you. This team is here right now.
Wait, they broke the door under you, Ulti.
This team is looking still.
Alright.
They're gonna third us if we actually fight.
Maybe we just play the heads. Maybe we just play the heads then. I don't know.
Yeah. They're picking up on the headies. I think, I don't know. Can I just want to kill them so we get inside to ourselves?
And can we without getting insta-thirded?
No, not really.
No, they can't.
I need heavy, and he'll go heavy.
No heavy. These guys aren't in for too long, okay?
If you get a scan, I might be able to knock one.
Look here! Look at my thing!
Okay, so that's one team out.
They walled it. Can we fight the duo?
Yes. Nading.
I'm going back, bro.
I got back up, Bernie.
Cat one.
That's a big burn there. Especially because Pricey's on the swing.
Valkyrie cracked.
All you guys. The other team's coming! Or is that your wall?
I need it. My wall. I walled the inside.
Yeah, Val crack! Help me!
Get in.
Oh, you wait, do not go down.
One dead.
Look for other team, take her,
Nice. Last.
On me.
Last squad.
See underneath for me.
Almost cracked Val,
Boys gonna come through on this.
Val's dead!
Yeah, see what's nearly cracked underneath. What's me?
Cat one!
They're gonna get normal swap.
Let's see, what's it?
Team.
So you...
Dude, he's one!
I got no ammo. I got no fucking ammo.
Oh, Waltzy.
Nice, get the swap, I'm playing slow. I'm gonna bait for you,
I got empties. Swap empties box.
Go, you got this.
I've got no ammo.
They don't have ammo.
He's cracked. No.
Neither of them had ammo, bro.
Oh, well, there it
That's
is. That's
so
unfortunate for Moist. It was looking so
tough,
good
bro.
until it wasn't. 2 players running out of ammo in the final engagement. But great news for ADL Wolves, who will walk away with the win.
That's
so there you go.
tough,
Heck,
bro.
HP and Legacy are more than happy to clean up those extra points. At the end of the day, though, I guess, you know, from the perspective that we were watching Genome, it's a disappointing end.
Yeah, a little bit. You could hear it in their voices, certainly towards the end there. I had sort of both teams up on the screen there, and I can tell you that at one point there were 2 players on Moist alive with probably less than 30 health, I want to say.
Someone's still in the Discord.
The one remaining player
Someone's
on
still in the
Wolves
Discord.
there, also less than 30 health. So they were all about one, they were all one shot basically. Honestly, they could have gone down there with a punch. I mean, we're talking about the ammo. If they literally had gone down there and just tried to two-man 1-2 him, they would have won, but obviously not necessarily going to know that. But yeah, wow, a really exciting finish. The way they dealt with Buriram United, who were underneath them as well, was really cool. You saw them just sort of taking all the foot shots, finishing them off with grenades, that kind of stuff, whittling them down until they were a duo and then being able to push them. And honestly, I think Moist had a pretty tough spot there to play in that final 3v3 as well. Adal, they were kind of watching from a distance, had full red armor.
Is it Adal? Is that where how I should be pronouncing it?
Whatnot, coming into that final fight. So the fact that they had the upper hand there at any point, honestly, speaks to their quality. And, we were wondering, are they going to be as good on Storm Point as World's Edge? Well, sure, the ring pulled straight to them, but it kind of seems like it, doesn't it?
Yeah, I mean, I was actually kind of surprised at how long MT was able to survive. After that initial fight that they took, when they took the second fight coming out of the building, he seemed to live for a very, very long time, even though he was really, really low.
Yeah, they've been having a tough go of things, though.
Made it almost look like it was possible, almost doable for Moist, but either way, yeah, not so much in the end. There's the footage again.
Definitely not the way that you would like things to go.
Unfortunately for him.
But
either way, yeah,
it's
pretty
first
chaotic
weekend,
game
man.
To start things off on Storm Point, we saw a lot of fights early on in the piece, just outside of the zone, and obviously the final fight.
Technically,
was a really
a new
messy one as
teammate.
well. Kind of.
I know they've been playing together here for a while, but
just unfortunate that there were so many teams in there that were a duo. That you kind of put the caveat on a lot of these engagements and say, oh, well, would this have happened if it was a trio?
Still that
or would it have
extra
played out
pressure
in
of
the same way. Probably not. I suppose that's just
this starting off the new split.
Yeah, it is a little bit. I mean, HRMGRD, they managed to sort of hold out for quite a while until Moist sort of discovered that they were in there, and then it was a duo. We haven't talked that much about it, but Sia did get nerfed a little bit in terms of sort of the heartbeat sensor and that sort of stuff. Don't see players sort of spamming right click, spamming that heartbeat sensor anymore, because it does take I don't know, say half a second, until that activates now, and so you can't just walk around constantly spamming it like you're slide jumping around, something like that, right? You actually do kind of have to make a very small commitment to actually trying to get that information.
That's a good point.
Well, just taking a look in these replays as to how that final fight did end up playing out. Yeah, very unfortunate. It was really just down to the wire. I think there's, if there's another clip available, if there's another 30 bullets available for either Waltzy or for Pricey, I think it was, that we're trying to clutch it out at the end. Maybe that's a different result, but it is what it is. That's just sometimes the nature of the beast. But look, again, I mean, a second place finish for Moist.
All right,
more
let's see
than
if we got
acceptable at this
updated
point.
scoreboards
They
yet or
don't
not.
need any more points than what they've already got, and they're probably still going to walk away with the win in this lobby. For ADL Wolves, though, they were actually really quite desperate for some points. They were sitting on 4 going into that game.
Wow.
So finding the win, you know, that could potentially jump them back up into the top 10, potentially even.
Moist really just pulling away from the pack.
Top 6, something like that.
ONIC though really
they've got
securing
a
themselves in
lot
that
of
number
work to do
2.
still to get themselves a decent overall placement for today, but that win is going to help a lot.
Yeah, Buriram inside the ring, happy with that one as well. ONIC, they do okay. IBG, yeah, we really just saw that, you know, that misplay from them in the mid game there, just leaving the building, which they probably would have got some of those kills anyway, honestly, if they had have stayed in that building and just waited for whoever the eventual victor was to come out of the cave.
Yeah, what they do,
Instead,
push forward
they
too
start
early?
taking the back shots. They don't, you know, they don't either leave someone in the building to show presence and stop the other team from spreading to that.
Got
or,
aggressive.
You know, something like that. There are a lot of options there, honestly, for them. And yeah, unfortunately, the one they went with did not work out for them at all.
Take a look at the overall scores for the lobby so far today and just see, again, how much Moist has been able to increase that gap. They're up to plus 34 over ONIC, who didn't exactly have the greatest of
Look
games.
at that gap, bro.
What's the record again in this region? It's like 120 something, isn't it? So they're probably a bit of a ways off that.
Good question.
Plus
I think
there are
last
still
split, we
only
didn't
2
have
games
super
left.
high scores.
You know what I mean?
Actually, just going back and looking at it now, 96 was the record from Split 1. That was while they were still known as Chicken Sandwich. And yeah, before that, it was definitely, I think, you know, it was definitely a rig score. But yeah, we'd have to go back even further to
114, I feel like, is a number that's kind of in my head, but maybe. Anyway, it doesn't matter. I don't think we're really in a position to be talking about that at the moment.
Yeah, I mean, that'd still be, what, 2 more...
Too far off of that kind of a scoreline, unless they want to go back-to-back and have a really big couple of finished games, but they're most certainly going to be taking at least top 2, most likely top 1. ONIC still looking pretty comfortable inside the top 2, and I mean, beyond that, it's kind of anybody's game, right? 29 points all the way down to, I mean, I even want to say Popcorn, right? If Popcorn has one good game here, they could still find themselves in the top 3. Or, sorry, 2 good games. Anyone below that, if you're still on single digits,
I mean, I'd even say Popcorn with one good game would be up in the 3.
But, you know, 2 of those teams that we talked about at the top of the day making those changes, Ironblood and HRMGRD are really having a tough day now. As far as HRMGRD is concerned, I suppose you can give them the benefit of the doubt because it is just a duo, but so far those changes not looking like the best choices.
Yeah, no, I'm genuinely surprised. I like even like in the worst case for IBG that I would have seen, I would have expected them to be doing better than they are currently.
I just feel like we've seen them like getting caught in rotations, though, right? It seems,
you know, there's a lot of teams, you know, that could gain a lot of points, and a lot of positions on that leaderboard with just the 1 or 2 decent games left to go. So hopefully IBG can keep their mentals, you know, primed and ready to try and take advantage of the last 2 games of Stormpoint.
Yeah, well, been speaking a lot about Moist Esports so far today, so we can take a look at their overview here and see how they've been going for the day.
Jeez, they haven't placed outside top 4.
Consistent top 3 placings. They finished 4th in game 1, but hey, look, 4th, 2nd,
That's
1st,
crazy.
2nd. I think you take that.
That is nuts. I mean, look, a minimum of 8
kills
per game, up to 15, and a minimum of 5.
31
you know,
kills through
9
4
or 12
games
there as well for placement points. That is insane.
That's insane.
And I'm going to be fascinated to see what this graphic looks like at the end of the day as well, because if they can keep that up, that will be just such a ridiculously impressive performance here from the.
Be a great way to start off with a statement.
Premier team in APAC South.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, they have well and truly taken that mantle that Reignite left and sort of run with it, and it doesn't really seem like anyone is matching them. I mean, you know, we don't obviously get to see the other 10, 20 teams today, but like
10 teams.
Like we don't get to see how all the lobbies integrate with one another, but I don't think that, like, you know, you look at today's lobby and you think, okay, this is not going to be anything but a representation of how any lobby that features Moist or ONIC, for example, is going to play out, because these 2 teams, they were consistent last split. They went overseas. They played really well overseas. They've come into today as well. They played really well today. So, you know, I mean, you put all those, like, I'm not a mathematician, right? But 1 + 1 = 2. So, I think you can just go ahead and say, yeah, I mean, these are going to be potentially two of the teams that we'll see go to the Split 2 playoffs. And I really wouldn't be disappointed to see them getting another bite at the cherry.
No, you wouldn't. I mean, they're
Is it
at
bite
the
of the
moment,
cherry an
they're
Australian
top 10 teams
saying?
in the world, right? And it's just crazy to say that as, you know, as a general enjoyer of esports, you know, someone who watches, you know, a couple of esports and how we see Australian and even APAC teams doing a lot of those. The fact that we can say that we have several top 10 teams in the world is honestly such a blessing, and it's great that we get that quality here, because that starts lifting up all the other teams in the region as well, right? You know, these guys are all practicing with each other constantly. You know, the players from all around the APAC region are getting to benefit from playing against these teams like Moist and like ONIC, who can show them that next level.
Yeah, indeed. Well, we don't have long to wait for our next match, but let's just take a quick look back at the prize overview. Give you guys a little bit of an update as to what this is all about.
Right?
10K for first place. That's pretty good. I think you take that. Split between 3, not a bad shout, but obviously the teams that are going to be inside of that top 4/5, I mean, make the argument, but whatever. Yep. Go through to the international competition, and that's what everyone's really looking for.
Exactly. Yeah, it's the cash, of course, is a nice little bonus, but it's that sentence down the bottom there.
Top
really,
4 teams in the winner
teams are playing for. That's the stuff that dreams are made of. Well, the next game is getting started, so I'm sure we'll be jumping into that real quick, guys.
It's usually right before they go in.
You know, Moist is thinking about backing it up here on Storm Point. Well, sorry, backing it up as in, you know, having another good performance, not necessarily winning. But yeah, I'm just, with the consistency that we saw in that graphic, Elfish, I'm fascinated to see if they can keep it up for all 6 games throughout the day.
All right, let's find out. Can they manage to secure a top 4 in 6 games? I think that's definitely possible, the way they've been playing. And obviously they've got a really good drop location in Cascade Falls as well on this map. Just very central. Lots of nice rotations for them. And actually this circle pool as well is not a bad one for them. So it's all sort of headed in that direction. ADL Wolves, maybe not quite so lucky up there at Lightning Rod. Got a long way to go.
Yeah, indeed. This one's pulling sort of northwesterly, so that's over towards Checkpoint. Down B, see there's even a little bit of the mill in this one, so keeps going in that direction. Teams like Akuma, who are playing down beast at the moment, are going to be happy. ONIC, they're already on their way in the Trident out from the mill to try and grab a spot. And, you know, as you've been pointing out, they've been fairly good at picking out those positions so far today. Teams with a little bit longer to go, ones like ADL that we just saw there, having to come all the way from Lightning Rod, but at least they did get the ring console spawn, so they know where they are headed. Okay, ONIC looking to take top of down beast, be an interesting spot. And the team who started there might actually be challenging them right here, right now. Akuma, they're thinking about it. Oh, they might have actually just realized that ONIC have beat them to the punch and might have to pull back.
Oh, I don't know if they're going to be given the opportunity to do that. Obviously, they're underneath. ONIC is on top. But I can just see Raki kind of going for the beacon and having a bit of a look. See where the enemy positions are.
Yep, they get that information. Of course, that you get the other team will get that information as well. You know, they get scanned. You know, you've got that new opportunity to press the button and work out where the team that scanned you was. So both of the teams kind of running around down base at the moment. They know exactly where the other one is. Akuma, honestly, I think they're going to be kicking themselves. I know down base isn't necessarily the easiest to loot in terms of pathing and all that and stuff, but they should have been able to get up the top first before the mill team, I would think, especially, you know, if they're believing that's where it's going to pull. I guess, that said, Akuma, they didn't have that information. Like, they can scan the survey beacon, but they didn't get a ring console this time, so, you know, as big as the the sort of the first ring is. They couldn't necessarily have predicted that it might be pulling up towards them. Either way, ONIC now are the ones going to be sort of looking down on the rest of the lobby from this vantage point.
Yeah, I mean, the one thing to say as well, in my opinion, is like, obviously ONIC have been very quick on their rotations. They have been pretty much the first movers in every single one of these games, so beating them anywhere is going to be tough at the best of times. So they'll just leave it at that one, and we'll see whether or not ONIC have made another correct read. You know, we obviously have that little superstition, I suppose. Is it a superstition at this point that if the ring is touching on one edge, that's where it's going to pull again? And ONIC is right on that edge, so you'd expect that it's going to go well for them based on that.
On bad chat.
Oh man, so I'm like gaming. You can see they're up towards.
Caught little man in the hallway.
Are they going to do some crafting? They are going to spot out Eternal Photon.
They've gotten them louder
sort of
since
leaving. You got to
earlier,
remember,
haven't
they
they?
used to play from North Pad. Seems like they're sort of.
Or are they just like waking up?
Followed that over. Couple teams rotating in. You can see Buriram.
Like, this definitely ends over by down beast, right?
That is a Valk ult to them.
Like it has to.
They'll take up space in one of the octagons, which is actually not a bad shout in my opinion there to the north of Checkpoint. A lot of other teams playing down towards Beam as well, down towards
the Beam.
IMC Armory
Is the Beam.
Southeast of Mill. So you've got Moist,
Sorry.
you've got Popcorn, 505. We're having a look at them there in the IMC itself right now, and DEWA over towards Market.
Fuck, I forgot to get
Yeah, man,
water.
I just had a little bit of a scroll through those 4 teams, and actually none of them have got info on where the zone is going to go beyond this one. So
yeah. And this
it might be one of those situations. Yeah.
Yeah, this is what we were talking about at the start, where it's like, oh wow, they've actually Moist have tried to go to Godrock, and Ulti, oh no, he might have DC'd. Okay, that's why he's been taken out.
Yep, he has.
So they're just going to try and punch him into a good spot. That's going to be tough. Hopefully he gets back in time. Fingers crossed for that one. But yeah, this is one of those situations, and like this is where I saw it happen last time as well. Was being where a lot of the teams, or at least a couple of the teams, do tend to rotate through Barometer, Sonata Caves, Jurassic Park, potentially even Mill. And if those teams see everyone else piling into that POI, they will just stop and be like, oh, okay, well, I guess maybe that's where it is.
Yep.
And they stop and they try and play from there. And then they get a very rude shock at when Zone 3 pops up on their radar and they're like, okay, everyone's wrong. You know, I can guarantee you there'll be a lot of cursing the other teams around them and being like, you guys don't know how to play the game. Why are we here? What am I doing with my life? Basically.
Well,
It's almost like he
IBG
listens to
forces
them
the
play the
Dark Veil
game.
to just keep themselves relatively safe at the backside of down Beast. Zone's pushing in. They're going to have to move out of there pretty quick. ONIC doing a bit of a number on that rotation. Fussy has got some shots, but it looks like IBG's okay for now. We'll back over to MTY White, who's all the way at the wall. So they're in the zone.
Probably do it over here.
Fighting against Truth.
Yeah, a couple of teams still in the zone. I mean, below them, you've got Golden Sage over at Command Center and Stormcatcher still with ADL Wolves, who are currently just popping some meds over there. Golden Sage, interestingly, are picking up the Crypto here. I was expecting that Crypto probably wouldn't get played this season because there is a bug with him at the moment where you can't necessarily get zone scans and how it interacts with... I believe it's if your teammate scans, it makes it yeah, something that you can't get your crypto scan off with the drone if maybe like your Catalyst teammate has already pinged the ring console. It's something like that. It's a little bit rough, unless they fix that actually. Unless they were talking about fixing it, so perhaps that's come through.
They're just punching spiders, so they're not giving.
Either way, maybe just a comfort pick there and something that they're just happy to
giving away any of their extra ammo.
DEWA United now know that they chose incorrectly to situate themselves where they did, and so they've.
DEWA's been kind of quiet today. They're sitting in 8th. Not terrible, but I mean, not points that really make much of a difference on the scoreboard, right?
Moist have actually set themselves up near Mill. Waltzy, the update there, still not in. And Eternal Photon.
Buriram out early again, man. Oh, I guess they haven't been out really that much.
Damage going in that direction.
This is the earliest they've been out, that's for sure.
Upgraded armor there for Hickers, but looks to be okay.
Looks like Waltzy did not get back into the game. They've left him behind. MT and Pricey are moving now through the mill that they've seen where the zone rotation
Moist
is
only got
going. The third zone so it's pulling even further up towards Down Beast. And I actually just got confirmation. It was yesterday that the crypto bug supposedly got fixed. So just in time, the ALGS split. Lovely. That's
what was the crypto
the couple
bug?
of teams who do still want to play that character. Obviously, it's changed up quite a lot now that he can no longer scan rings. Of course, he's in the recon class, so he's scanning where all the other players are now. If you guys haven't had a chance to sort of get around those class changes, it's been one of the biggest changes we've seen in Apex Legends since the game came out.
What do you reckon is the biggest change that Apex Legends has had? I want to say Evos, armor Evos was a pretty big deal.
Yeah, there's been a couple. That one dropping with like meds and shields is also another pretty big change, I would say. The changing, the amount of like items you can hold in your inventory over time, that's changed quite a bit. The amount of ammo stacks, the amount of grenades you can have, shield batteries.
Yeah, but
all
those
that
were
kind of
all
stuff
like
going
over
back
time
probably, I don't
changes,
know,
though.
5-10 seasons now they made some of those changes. Would probably be the ones that stand out to me. But yeah, honestly the class one might be the biggest of them all. It's definitely
But it
been
really
a big
hasn't
shake-up for both your just general games
really
as well as your
changed.
ranked competitive games.
Well, that's good. Keeps
Like the
things
ALGS
fresh and-
meta, really.
You know what? This is a bit of a change up as well. The way that this game is played out, I feel like we haven't really seen as many teams going down quite so early. Now there are a couple of like ring edge engagements happening all over the place, but it doesn't really seem like many of them have really properly come to a head just yet. So we've still got 19 teams alive, 51 players. Everyone's just spending time moving rather than fighting.
Well, the ring's closing in around a couple of teams over here, so we've got the
Truth's closing in on this north side over here.
We're still outside this next zone.
Looks like they should
and
be
then
able to get
Golden
themselves a
State
little bit of
also
space right ahead of them. They've got a little bit of a
southeast, so
catalyst
these three
wall
teams
helping
have
them out
a
here.
bit of a confrontation here. Can Truth manage to make their
Except
way
Golden
out?
State just taking pop shots at them across the way, or not across the way, but behind their back here.
Of these two teams who are really looking to grab the KP here, you can see Golden State actually. Wow, they actually go down to Eternal Photon, or at least take a hit from that. Truth decide they want none of this. They're actually going all the way north and potentially looking to just do some crafting over at Northpad until these teams give up and go away.
Yeah, I feel like that has kind of been the mentality for Truth this game so far today. They've very often gone and played edge. They've tried to avoid fights until they don't really have any other options. I mean, they've had one or two decent games. I think they're sitting... Where are they sitting? 8th overall. So it's not as if today's been awful for them, but it hasn't been fantastic either. Don't know that
Where are we sitting at right now at this point?
Necessarily, but yeah, I think this is very much in line with the mentality that they've come into today with. So I'm not too surprised to see them do that.
Inside the ring is 4th.
So the ring will rarely pull inside of checkpoint, but inside the ring, starting around there meant they felt like it's a decent spot to play from. Maybe watch some rotations come through and just use the choke access to the west of checkpoint to eventually push on from there. I mean, they did have that ring console knowledge. No, they didn't actually. Just having a look at. Oh no, sorry. Yes, they did. Sorry, I was on a different team. Because of course, yeah, not everyone is playing with a recon character. Well, what used to be a recon character, what is now a controller character, which would give you access to that ring knowledge. So, like, Truth Esports, for instance, who are playing Bang, Valk, and Sia, yeah, they don't have access to that. They can
I really like
scan
this
the
inside the
survey
ring
beacons with Sia, but they
composition.
can't scan the ring console.
Mostly because I called
I did
it.
like that tweet that you made as well about the control versus controller discussion.
Oh,
like, what-
dude.
So these guys are like these legends are the ones that only controller players can pick or something like. Is that what it is?
Yeah, I know. Like, surely there was a word available that like didn't have to confuse those
Scout?
two things.
I don't know,
but,
something like that. Could have been
We could
Scout.
still, yeah, exactly. There's got to be one. hopefully, who knows? Will we get that changed eventually? I'm
I
gonna
feel like
say
it's kind of a
If you
swap.
make
I
enough
live in
noise,
hope.
mate, you're a pretty big
live in
deal in
hope.
Apex Legends now. I reckon you can facilitate
Alright.
that. Yeah.
I'll shout it out of the land.
Yeah, exactly.
Get
we're
some
just
signs going in the crowd, you know.
Yeah, we're just watching ADL Wolves right now take a couple of pot shots at who is that across from them? I think it's HRMGRD, the duo, or is
Yeah,
it's Casuals maybe. Either way, Casuals and HRMGRD are in pretty close proximity to this, but ADL Wolves are sort of headed down in the direction of HRMGRD, who again have been having a pretty tough run today. I don't really want to harp on too much about HRMGRD. I think it's just been you know what it is, I guess, when you're playing as a duo. This is where it could get a little bit worse as well for them, because ADL Wolves are definitely having a look, but those Sentinel shots ringing out are kind of turning them away.
I mean, Moist, honestly, doing the same. They're a duo right now in this game. We can always compare them against that barometer. That's a measure of success. But certainly a couple of other trios that are looking to do a little bit better this game. ADL Wolves, as you said, have they recognized that HRMGRD is the duo savior?
They're a little bit.
Does grab a nice shot in the Sentinel to start things off, but they really can't take this head on. It's going to be so hard for them.
Oh, bro. But, so now where do they go, though? Because, you got somebody inside. You got to try and fight your way in.
That will just top himself up as we turn back to 505. And Mexus now the kill leader for this game. So maybe the fortunes are changing a little.
Oh,
for
that's big, though, because
505.
that somebody who's already got a shield prep should be able to enter and fight in on this.
Things haven't really continued in that fashion. ADL Wolves as well, suffering from success. It seems like if you win a game, the next game tends to prove a little difficult.
No, they're fine. They're fine.
See if ADL Wolves can dig themselves out of this situation, because
I
they
think
have
it's
actually
a duo
got
in here, right?
a bit of a move that they do need to make. They need to get through this fight quite quickly. Well, now we're back over to 505, and once again they're finding themselves in another engagement, doing a lot of work and dealing with MDY White quite comfortably. Yeah, it's just Feiju that'll get away from this engagement, but he's going to run into Jesco, so he might go down in pretty quick succession.
Popcorn, the duo there, is actually looking at him, and like you can see them just holding their fire for a little bit, because obviously as a duo you don't necessarily want to show yourself, but if they realize it's just him by themselves, yeah, they're cotton onto that fact, and now they are going to chase after him and try and be like, well, there's the one team that we can take a fight with an advantage on. This is Casuals plugging down at the hill. As soon as ADL Wolves took that fight, basically Casuals just took the position above them. And have been just causing havoc. That's why HRMGRD is still alive, because ADL kind of can't find an easy way to take the fight inside, run past the fences, especially when they're taking all this cover fire from Casuals. But over at Down Beast, where this game will be ending, we can see some other action going on.
Yeah, I'm just also watching Joelus. He's about to make a port here around the back, so maybe that's actually an exit avenue for not only
have we seen if ONIC run out? Because they're over here at Down Beast earlier,
anyway,
right?
watching X and Y underneath Down Beast for the moment. Don't know that it's going to last too much longer for them. There's some thermite ticks going on, so a bit of a chase.
So there's the ADL Wolves.
ADL Wolves died!
Oh, yeah, well. Chase through a port, that's what's going to happen.
I mean, actually, there's obviously not many Wraiths in the lobbies, but that's another change that we can just touch
Casuals
on.
out, HRMGRD out, Truth, Fate.
And wow, everyone is just dying here. 5-5, they had all that time to loot up over in checkpoint and move through, doing some damage through the choke there. Then we're looking at DEWA down the bottom here, getting...
bro, everyone's going down here, Jesus.
That Kraber feels like it's going to be going into someone else's hands pretty soon. Probably ONIC, who are pushing them.
Yep, there's ONIC, who I was asking about earlier.
Yeah. Lahim is the last member alive for DEWA United right now, and Fussy is on the hunt. He is looking to finish off those knocks, but ONIC are being quite passive for the moment. I think Fussy wants to push forward. He just needs his teammates to come with him.
Okay.
If they go together, this is the freeze kill of their lives, and eventually they've kind of cottoned on to that. There are some cross shots, yes, but it's just from Mexus and Forgotten, and oh, you'd have to think there's no way DEWA gets out of this one alive. Lahim still surviving, but he's only got a couple of
I just don't think
boxes as
ONIC wants
cover
to give away their position,
He's going through the boxes one by one, picking up his armor swaps. I think he's finally run out of them, so he's having to actually rely on his meds now. But yeah, the shot's coming Crossways there, the crossfire from 505, and ONIC essentially finally will put paid to DEWA's chances in this lobby, and we've got 7 squads left alive now. The Moist duo, who lost their Valkyrie and just walked into one of these buildings, I mean, it wasn't great for their rotations, but now that they're inside, Seer Cat is probably the 2 characters, the 2 legends you'd want to have alive, being able to reinforce these doors, so they may survive yet a little bit longer.
Right there?
Meanwhile,
No.
Eternal Photon can
right
go
there.
up against Let's Go here on the northern side.
Yeah, but it's it looks like it's going to be a bit of a prolonged engagement. They're just looking at each other through the glass on those buildings.
If Seer gets nerfed, all we do is
ONIC, on the other hand, are making a bit of a move. Some shots going into Akuma.
Yeah, they have to use the Dark Veil to try
Like, it
to
doesn't
push in
change
there.
for anything
Moist
else?
actually try and make some, show some presence there to try and keep themselves alive. So they'll put down a little bit of damage to ONIC, but they can't really commit with the duo. The duo of Akuma as well was on top of them. ONIC did force them back a little bit, so it looks like they're okay in this next zone.
Oh, Pricey is getting quite active right now and putting a lot of pressure on ONIC. You can see they're still all quite low.
Grover.
Losing Shadi to the
Fuzzy
Thermite
now?
as well.
Yeah,
this
ONIC's
is
about to go
really
down.
not ideal at all for ONIC, and this is a world where if Moist feels confident they could capitalize on it. I'll be interested to see if they do, because 505 is rocked up behind them as well. That's where those shots are starting to come through. Wall down. Moist back in their shell.
The Skynade's hitting Raki now, a solo with his 2 teammates being put in the boxes right beside him. Oh man, that was a very unfortunate rotate there from ONIC. Not really able to weather the storm, unlike Moist here, who, it doesn't matter. Their doors can go down, but of course, with Catalyst, they can keep reinforcing that. 505.
God, I wish I could,
they may not have
pull up
their
the map.
3rd member
See who's still in.
to bring back in with that respawn beacon, but they can chuck it down just to give themselves a little bit of extra cover. Akuma finally recovering a little bit and managing to get the extra res. That's nice for them.
Yeah, Raki just trying to do a bit of scouting, see if he can spot anybody with the ultimate. Knows there's a couple of members in the building.
Raki
next
probably
to him,
just
which is obviously Moist.
walks
Can't
in with
see too
this
much
here,
through
right?
Smokes. Chan under pressure though. From the backside, this is EP chasing down onto Akuma.
Lisa
and
duo
Raki
here
has
has
found the
going down.
opportunity there as well to potentially put some damage through,
ONIC up
get
in the
a
top
kill
5.
point out of it. He does so.
Nice.
The other one will go the way of EP, but that's the end of Akuma, and now Raki has pushed his way forward.
Yeah, he's going to have to push these abilities to the limit as well. Just as a solo Seer, he's going to need to use that Heartbeat Center to try and avoid as many other teams as possible.
On the other side of this
Unfortunately,
wall.
he does get spotted out because Eternal Photon have cottoned on to his position. They will take
Nice
it out.
point out of
Now they
ONIC
have to
there.
deal with Let's Go.
Oh, it doesn't look like that's going very well for them. Holiday's down. Another player
Photon's
dropping,
about to
and
go
it's
down
just
here.
Gilon, who will try to survive. But I think the day
I'm
is
surprised
done
this
for
team that's
Eternal
inside is
Photon
allowing him to heal.
in this game at the very least. Moist have somehow still managed to keep their heads
They're in
down.
the
And
top 3.
to be
Are you
honest,
kidding me?
this is definitely a winnable game because 505 is the other team there. There's a duo.
I mean, honestly,
Let's Go is a trio, but they've got a member down on the floor, and I'm not sure they're going to be able to get the res with the zone moving the way that it is. So it's 2v2v2.
with the team being two
This
a
is
duo,
very
they could be
winnable
focused on each other. The only problem is they could also
any one
both
of
be
these
looking at
teams,
them.
but knowing that it's
Ring goes
Moist,
down.
Nope.
you'd have to
Three
think
duos.
it could well be Moist
They need to
walking
get out
away with
here.
the win right here. They are keeping themselves out of this engagement
need to push
for as
themselves
long
out into
as
this.
possible, and they know now is the time to strike. They're going to go through the wall.
Moist about to win this
Damage
as a
down
duo.
onto the
No
Bangalore.
way.
Empty's getting low. Pricey
No
is going to have to be
way.
the one to finish this one off with the Prowler dashing back and forth through that wall. Bangalore still has armor, hiding behind the
505
down shield, and
pulls off.
505 still survive.
Bro, if
That's
they would've
their
pulled that
second
off,
win
though,
for the day.
that'd have been
And they
insane.
deny Moist the duo victory, but they get one of their own.
That would have been one of the most
That would have been insane.
ridiculous victories of all time for Moist had taken that out, but full credit there to 505. As you said, 2 victories already today. Out of 5 games is a very,
Was
very
505
solid start.
under the same
Well,
team
start,
name
just
last
very
year?
solid day for them, and probably is going to put them up in contention for, I'd say, top 3 around, where ONIC is sitting at the moment. Yeah, look, the fact that, you know, just everything that happened in that game, and there were 3 duos at the end.
Yeah,
it
they
was
just
a 2v2v2,
finished 14th. Okay.
Right there, as you said, Moist, they played it well. They kept control of that building, used the Dark Veil.
All right, chat, we're going to be going into our last game here.
Pricey was jumping around left and right, just trying to use the
Worth
fact
noting,
that
once
the
game
opposing
6 is
Bangalore
done
really
and
go
we have
through that
scores,
without getting stunned,
I'm done.
But it just wasn't.
Because I need to get a quick
either way,
nap
they still
in
walk away with
before South
9
America
placement
starts.
points. And how many kills did they end up with in the end? Yeah, look, only 2. Oh my god, 505 got 14 kills that game.
Oh my goodness.
That's a lot. And 505 was a duo for the latter part of that game as well. For quite a while, just around Down Beats, they were playing as 2. So they've done a really good job for themselves in that one.
So that'll...
I don't think their consistency today has been enough such that that result is going to push them into a world where they are contesting Moist for first. I mean, the unfortunate thing is
they'll be
they've
pushing
had 2
ONIC.
wins, but the other couple of games that they've played today, they've sort of gone missing a little bit. So they're really relying on big games to carry their overall points today rather than the consistency factor. And that's kind of what's let them down. But yeah, surely they'll be in the race for a second place now.
Yeah, I feel like that's definitely a possibility there. With a massive game there, I mean, what's that, 26 points that 505 are going to be picking up there for our 5th game of the day.
I think that puts them in second place, right?
Pretty impressive, honestly. So, yeah, look, it's been a good day for a couple of teams. 505.
Well, because ONIC was in
someone that
pretty
we weren't talking about
pretty
all that
late.
much, I guess, in Split 1. But maybe this is
Right?
the start of something new, started something special, and certainly every team, of course, is just wanting those land spots, right? So
Wikipedia isn't updating right now.
21
Unfortunate.
or
Big ol'
18
ripperonis.
split points from a second or a third spot here today. That does go a long way towards, you know, that sort of, you know, what is it, 100-point threshold or something around there that you need to crack on.
I was just going to have a look at that and see what the
Split
points were. It was 119 EXO in 5th.
Right. Okay.
That they got. I mean, obviously Dreamfire got 111 and ended up going because they were missed out. But
yeah,
you know, you can't really be relying on that. So yeah, if you'd probably be wanting to aim for about 120 points, and you have what, like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 lobbies. I think each like group plays like Group A plays 7 times, Group B plays 7 times, Group C plays. I think that's right. So how?
I think it's right. Well, it's a triple round robin, right? So you're playing each group, you're playing each other group 3 times. So it'll be 6.
Then
6
plus the
games,
regionals.
or sorry, 6 series throughout the regular season plus the regional finals.
Right.
So yeah, you'll essentially have like 7 opportunities to contribute.
7 sessions.
Yeah. All right. So yeah, I mean, you want to be sitting at about 15 to 20 points per day, per game day is kind of what I'm saying. That's the important part, and so that's where you want to be aiming for. Anyway, let's have a look at the scoreboard and see how much 505 have been able to jump up, and yeah, well and truly in the race for a second as expected. ONIC now have a
ONIC is
pressure
just
on their
enough to stay in
shoulders
second.
because they've slowed down since we gotten onto Storm Point. That wasn't too bad from them, but I think they would have been wanting to run away with the second place a little bit more than what they have been able to do so now. They've definitely fallen off the pace.
Yeah, well, I mean, if you think about their, you know, how they were going on World's Edge, they had a second, a third, and a second, and then it was a 7th with 0 KP
Yeah, and then like
in
a
round
5th,
4.
right?
So yeah, ONIC definitely struggling a
Something
little
like
bit more here on Storm Point, and as we expected, some teams are gonna have big differences in how they perform on those 2 maps. You know, you do see some teams getting maybe up to 60, sometimes even 70% on one map versus the other. You know, Moist kind of being the exception here today in that they just absolutely killing it no matter what. And with a DC, they get a 2nd place. That's I don't know.
It's a lot of
what are you
fight for
gonna
Moist,
do
man.
to stop these guys, honestly?
Not too much. But either way, look, time for us to head to another short break. We've got one more game for you coming up today, so don't go too far away. We'll be back right after this.
All right, one last game here. Pretty well just feels like a race for a second, and we haven't gotten an updated scoreboard on Liquidpedia yet to be able to put up, but we do know that 505 is right underneath ONIC. I don't think either of them, like, unless they have some dumb, crazy just last game and Moist like dies on spawn, I'm pretty sure Moist is secured in their first spot. It's a race for second. But then it is also a race for what, fourth? So I think ONIC and 505 are kind of separated from everyone else as well, unless someone like a DEWA were to win with a lot of kills. Which I'm not saying isn't going to happen, but you know, honestly, Lahim getting a couple of shots here in this situation was pretty slick. Hats off for the attempt, for real. Have we? Gotten updated scores? Nope, no updated scores. So tomorrow we have Split 2. Starts for South America. Let's check this real quick. I think it's 10, right? And then it's 1 o'clock for EMEA. And 6 o'clock for NA. I'm glad that the APAC South region isn't going on during
Welcome back on
Easter
into
weekend.
ALGS. It's APAC day number 1. It's been a pretty big day, all things considered. I think normally we probably would have been done by now through the 6 games, but we did have a bit of a reset city for game 2. Anyway, we're at the end of the day, almost. We got one more game yet to go. So, bit of moving and shaking going on still on that scoreboard. I thought, after those first couple of games, that by this stage, we'd probably have an established first, which we do. I thought we'd probably have an established second, which we do not. There's very much still a world where ONIC could get knocked out of second place by 505, or maybe 1 or 2 other teams, potentially as well.
I think it's just those
interesting
two.
stuff going into this final game.
Yeah, and we saw last split how close some of those qualification points can be, right, Elfish? So if you drop down from, you know, a second place to a third place in this lobby, and you're losing out like in a couple of those split points,
I
that
wonder,
could
do they
genuinely make a difference.
have?
So they
have to have
for
someone
all
who's
of these
working
points. They
producer
need to
separate,
come back,
right?
'cause obviously ONIC have had a terrible Storm point so far, and honestly, like, yeah, apart from the start of the day seemed very slow, but the rest of I was just like, wait, are we seriously up to game 6 already? Like, I don't know, it's going very
game
fast.
6, baby.
In the second half of it. So just having a quick recap of those scores that we were talking about, you can see Moist have absolutely locked this up. There is no question about it. They will be the first place team here in this lobby.
I mean, I guess.
And then, you know, if
Photon
we
or
go over
Akuma
to
could
ONIC and 505, you can see that they're kind of battling it out for second and third, and then there's a bunch of teams down there who will probably be shuffling around in this last game when you consider, you know, there's only.
But I mean,
5
Onic's been like
between
first
6th
to
10th.
Yeah, it's one of those situations where one game could really drastically improve your overall split performance just because of the amount of points that you get. You know, obviously it's a fairly convoluted format for those that are new, maybe that are just tuning in for the first time. Based on the points you get today, you get overall split points, but you don't carry these points over to like the next games you play. So Moist doesn't get to carry on 100+ points into the next lobby that they play. They get 25 points for winning, and then we start fresh the next time they play, and if they win again, they get another 25 points, and they do that over the course of 6 to 7 days potentially, and see how many points you get at the end of the split.
7 days.
That's what actually gets you the qualification slots. So, yeah. But actually, probably a good time to talk about the split. We've got all these 6 days, and you know, obviously 6 days worth of competition. Plus, we're looking forward to sort of obviously seeing these teams go and play overseas in the Split 2 playoffs. So quite a bit of Apex Legends still yet to come for you early on in the year.
Yeah, and so if you have a look at the schedule, you know, obviously Split 1 was just week after week, you know, back-to-back action. This time there will be a little bit of a break in the middle, so we'll have the first 3 weeks over the next 3 weeks, and then we'll have a 2-week break and start up again in April as we head towards that regional finals there on day 6, where we decide who does in fact go overseas, which 5 teams will be representing APAC South on the world stage. And gosh, they've got a lot to live up to, don't they, Elfish, with how phenomenally
I honestly think that APAC South probably second best
every single
region.
land since Apex Legends started, or the ALGS has started, at least I should say.
Yeah. It's definitely a weight on the shoulder.
Hard to like debate it, right?
But I think at this point we do have a lobby reset, so that's why we're waiting. For those of you that are wondering, so we're just working through that. I feel like I've kind of cursed it a little bit there, Gino. I really should not have brought it up as we came back in. But anyway, look, we'll take
Bro,
it.
honestly
we've
though,
got the IBG video for you guys to take another look at here if you didn't see it earlier. So just check in with that one, and then hopefully we'll be ready to jump in with the game.
Like, this is honestly kind of frustrating. And I think frustrating is probably an underselling word, because like, imagine if this were to be going on tomorrow during NA, which I don't think it does. Because it seems to be an issue that's more exclusive to APAC South. But I don't know, man. Go refill my water one more time, I guess.
And welcome back to what will be the final game of the day. We're going to head into Storm Point in just a second for ALGS. This is APAC South. It is the first day of the split, and it's always a good day. I think APAC South is always the first region to start, isn't it?
Yeah, I think it has been almost every time, if not every single time. So yeah, it is a bit of an honor to to kick it off every time. Often to be the first region to send our teams to LAN as well. To get that confirmation of who's going to be repping. So yeah, it's cool.
Big responsibility, and look, let's try to close the day out quite nicely as we do head into Storm Point for the final time today. It is the last game of Groups A and B. And I think what we're looking for out of this final match is, well, that battle between ONIC and 505 and, well, maybe then a couple of other teams as well, potentially in the discussion there. But definitely those two are leading for the second place finish. Esports, I don't think anyone can really catch them for first. And then there's a lot going on in the middle of the pack. So a lot of moving and shaking can still be done here in this last game.
Yeah, definitely still some opportunities, especially in that 5 to 10 region, to make things a little bit different, to change your fate, as it were, going into this final game of today. Yeah, I've just been looking at some of the stats that we have going here, Elfish, and looking at through the pick rates for today. So it's probably no surprise to us that the top pick rate by quite some margin, as we see we're getting a pull down south here, potentially towards
we're dropping into a map. Let's go.
Or maybe even a bit more of a mid-map position. We will see. But yeah, the most prevalent composition so far has been Catalyst, Seer, and Valkyrie, sitting at 43%. So almost half the lobby across both maps have been playing that composition, and then that's followed by Bang, Cat, and Seer, sitting at almost 20%, and then from there it gets a little more scarce.
So Cat's at least
some of the
60%.
Edge teams, you've got Bang, Seer, Valk, and you've got Bang, Horizon, Seer as well coming in a little bit.
Can you see what the Catalyst pick rate is? Because we were talking about it wasn't quite 90%.
Yes,
I don't
think. So actually, the way they format it, it's the highest though. So at the moment we've got 76 Catalyst picks, and then 75 Seer picks, 68 for Valkyrie. So all three of those, sitting quite high.
Okay, fair enough. Well, yeah, I mean that makes sense to me. I don't know what you'd go for, but I personally think I'd be a fan more so of the Valkyrie variant. I still just think that mobility and
yeah, but I mean, I think the Valk Seer, or I mean the Valk Seer,
too valuable for me to be dropping if I was choosing my ideal squad.
Cat?
Yeah, it's tough. As I said, like I genuinely think that the Valk ultimate, the Skyward Dive, is just not as good a rotational tool as it used to be, and with the way that zones pull and sort of where they end on Storm Point, you get slightly less buildings in those final zones, and that makes you want that extra cover from the smokes from Bang a little bit.
I think it's
more,
interesting though that there's like really not any Watsons.
Do tend to pick that on
so
Storm Point. I guess one of the other ones being
kind of being one that we haven't seen that much of. You know what I mean?
On where you pop the ultimate.
Whereas that was a pretty big pick
ground, you won't get as far
in the region last year. I feel like.
So if you're having to move south,
right, Chad?
North, depending on what team you are, what POI you've got, the ultimate is also a little bit less effective in terms of its ability to get you into the right spot at the right time.
That's definitely a good point. I think something that most players probably don't consciously think about. This has been an interesting rotation from Moist. I've just been watching them go back and forth over those cannons for a little bit, but seems as though they've finally started to make their way in toward Launchpad. This rocky outcrop we've seen get played a lot by no shortage of teams, but it's a bit of a scary spot to play this early on because a lot of people are still going to be rotating in. It's still kind of out in the open. Could cause some problems.
Yeah, we've got some fights going down towards Gale Station, actually. Fate and 505. Also, Fate and Casuals are having a little bit of a skirmish down there. Casuals do lose out in the end, actually. Were they a full... Yeah, wow. So I think they've actually just lost to the duo of Fate there. So honestly, congrats to them. And then over at the other IMC,
Imagine.
or another IMC on the map there, we've got XNY and 505 kind of going at it here.
This is big for 505. Remember, they're one of the teams. So 505 is sitting in third.
Start popping out, but you can see, yeah, okay, it is opening now. They're just going to take the option to get out pretty much straight away. Can XNY snipe any of them out of the sky?
Like
no, the Nemesis this time, it's pretty good, but it's not enough.
So 505 gets out.
505. Slowly but surely working their way through. Golden Sage as well. Just trying to keep things as relaxed as possible in this little engagement against IBG. I'd say Golden Sage are probably suffering a little bit worse in this fight. IBG have got the better of the armor and the equipment, and already you can start to see that coming to the fore. They've got nice crossfire angles as well established, and IBG really doing a number on Golden Sage right there. The nade to go through as well. If not finishing them off, will do a good amount of work, and so Golden Sage eliminated. It didn't really look too difficult for IBG there.
I was having a look at Teddy's POV there. He missed a couple of PK shots, got about 20 damage in about a full PK clip there. You need more than that, especially when IBG is pushing you, you know,
Not
in
20 in
close
a
proximity
full
there,
clip,
in
bro.
your face.
Oh, bro.
You really need to be getting the 100 pumps out there to bat them away, but they don't. And so IBG, they're currently running into Prowlers while being chased by the ADL Wolves, and they've got inside the ring on top of them as well. They've been spotted out. Arc Stars coming through. Are IBG going to be able to weather this storm is another question we have to ask here, because they've really, you know, as we said, they've struggled today. There we go. They get a team wipe, a couple of KP to their names at the very least, but they need to do so much more than that, Elfish. And honestly, we expect so much more out of them when you consider the stories behind these players on these teams and the skill level of Jarrett, Player K, and
Who got the doggy dog?
Yeah, I think they've got a lot to prove coming back in future weeks as well. I mean, I'm not sure that it's going to really fully come together this week for them, but it's still going to be salvageable, definitely, this season. Eternal Photon have been one of the big winners of today. I think they've done a really good job, but looks like a tough journey through the final game of the day for them. MDY White trying to gatekeep them a little bit.
Yeah, they got quite the rotate ahead of them here.
Rocking the new Wraith Heirloom as well there, by the way. Big spender.
Let's head that way.
Well, I'm just going to put it out there that I don't have a single heirloom.
Hey, join the club, buddy. Join the club. Season 1 player.
Yeah. So it's I don't know if it's maybe a problem with you or your bank account, Gino, but anyway.
Definitely a bank account problem.
No, well, I don't know. I feel like, you know, maybe you cast an international Apex Legends event, they should give you an heirloom. Like that could be like...
Surely it's like one heirloom per event,
One
right?
heirloom per event, yeah.
You'd kind of hope so. Then at least I'd have a couple in the collection, and you would too. But
put that one in the list, yeah.
Yeah. Either way, we are seeing a pull
If
down
only.
towards Launchpad here. So teams that pulled up there early. We have Popcorn. You know, in terms of important positions, yes, you can see they're on the catwalk. They're holding that charge rifle. Not sure if that's the one that you get. You know, usually it's like a guaranteed sniper spawn up the top of that catwalk. But they do have the attachments to go with it as well, which is very handy. Charge rifle, of course.
Especially since this is going to be ending up here.
People really love to hate on
they get to really chill.
It's just so damn good.
LG probably gets to chill where they're at.
Evo's up. Then you can see underneath we've got 20th guaranteed playing from down in the sewers. Let's
Moist,
go.
big vibing.
They're actually holding the building at the back of Launchpad, and then as we touched on earlier, Moist holding that position. Sort of cuts through towards Stormcatcher and the sort of the bottom of that hill. You'd see a fight here going on with Buriram. This is against the duo there of HRMGRD, and once again they're trying to pull up with the fences going on, but unfortunately that's not enough to keep Buriram at bay. They do lose Lala Bang,
decent start, but they haven't been struggling recently.
Yeah, but with that said, IBG is quite...
Stormpoint has not been treating them well.
So it's not exactly going to be the easiest of respawns to pull. And
I
also,
got
you're basically dead center of the map.
First
so.
game.
Yeah.
But
also, that area is quite open in terms
only one
of,
kill
like,
though,
obviously
so
the big hill above you right here where Eternal Photon is, and if they see a spawn coming in, you know, you can quite quickly get down that hill to try to sort of get a bit of a chase on if you so desire, or you could just play from the high ground, try and get some pot shots off. I think even if you were to get the res off, I'm not sure that player would survive, or they'd be quite lucky to survive the circumstances, but you know, at least that is an option if it ends up playing out that way.
Gopgaps is going for it. He's actually just pulled it off. Lala Bang will be coming back in. You know, whether or not IBG managed to take him out is another question. But as you can see, there's some more imminent action here up the hill with Eternal Photon going against inside.
I love the balloon, by the way.
Ring. The Catalyst walls have come out though, and they are sort of showing each other off. Oh no! And
I don't even know if he landed.
For his trouble as well, so now it's only a blow left for the Thai team, and he's popping the Skyward Dive. He is leaving his teammates for death.
See, I think that's the bait of it, really. You've got to look at it in that situation and think, how likely are we to get this off? And if we do get this off, how likely is that player to survive?
Panda barely has any life left.
That draw to us? And with all those things considered, obviously it's not worked out for Buriram, and so a flow... He will try his best to survive, but he has landed in a Hornet's Nest, so I can tell you he's probably not going to be lasting too much longer.
Yo,
maybe
this is rough here, bro. Like,
Eternal Photon, some shots headed in their direction, but they're doing a little bit better. They are, though, being chased by MDY White, who maybe don't want to be too over-eager, but what they have at least achieved is pushing...
Because especially now they opened up their backside to ADL Wolves.
Feeling confident after the win that they got earlier. Are going to push their way into this
they're pushing into the other side here.
They know this is a wounded team coming out from the zone, so good opportunity for them to potentially grab a couple of quick points, and that looks like
team.
It'll be exactly what does happen. Just the one member left on Holiday to try to survive.
This could be a really disappointing end to the day for Eternal Photon as well.
Messy,
they go out and they were in 4th place. They had a win. They had a 4th with 8 kills last game.
They were in 4th. Really That's going to be no points for them. I don't think they had any kills.
Going down early
and now MDY White.
Here's a chance at Kuma, DEWA, maybe even X and Y.
Move in here and take out ADL Wolves.
Yeah, I'm a little bit concerned about that though for ADL Wolves. They took a long time to finish those 2 kills off. They drew a lot of attention to themselves, and MDY White have kind of gotten on top of them before they've been able to properly reset. There you can see Beiju gets that first knock, is traded back on down, but he's done enough damage to that next player that the trade can come through again quite cleanly for MDY, and it's just heck here for ADL Wolves. Though, that said, I'm watching the minimap inside the ring, a duo are starting to work their way across. So this is starting to become quite a hot area of the map, and in the end, MDY White might fall prey to exactly what they just did to ADL Wolves if they're not careful.
Okay, inside the ring, a little bit rough now, and MDY White, who kind of, I think they came out of the zone sort of during the last ring, and have been trying to make something happen, but they might have pushed
it a third one inside the ring. That's Zicky, right?
Down to just one. MDY White trying to get back on their feet. XNY actually are pulling up on them, and they're pulling up on fast. They're skirting in with the Trident on their north side.
Oh, inside the ring been around for a hot minute.
Well, things have relaxed a little bit, but X and Y have rocked up quite close to MDY, and also now...
I thought it was like a newer team.
They were united to gatekeeping Akuma out, but we'll jump back over to MDY White. They're really fighting for their lives at this point, aren't they? DEWA, sorry, not DEWA. It's X and Y, who are really actually more so on the receiving end of that, and even now, their last member trying to escape down into Launchpad is receiving shots from the teams toward the back end there. And it looks like MDY will get through that one okay, aside from Mingyu.
Yeah, I think he's definitely getting left behind. It was a very messy fight initiated there by X and Y, and yeah, they paid the price in the end. They're gonna
dude, that Nemesis is so nasty when it's wound up, bro. Like,
certainly did not work out for them. DEWA further into the the circle. They're going to have a building to play from. You can see 505 sort of just trying to pepper them in there. Using the grenades as well. Akuma coming in on the left side as well. They're getting some cracks, but I don't know if that's going to be enough to keep them alive. Orchan is down. They've got no more smoke canisters therefore to try and provide them cover, and I think 505 are probably going to pick up the KP there. Okay, well, actually pushing up and looking.
ONIC is still alive, but they've been keeping their heads down, that's for sure. They're in that little set of buildings just outside of Launchpad to the south. So kind of keep that in mind when you're watching 505 involved in these engagements, really farming some kill points. If they get through this one with a win, which
farming some
I wanted
kill
to say
points.
looks like they're going to be able to do. Maybe I've spoken too soon, but no. DEWA United goes down. 505, that's another 3 points on the board, and that would, I think, actually put them above ONIC now in terms of where they're actually placed.
That's their first 3
Obviously,
points.
that could change depending on who survives longer in this game, but
that's their first 3 points.
With their play style that tends to be a little bit slower, they like to wait it out before fighting quite a bit later in the game. Maybe don't stand to farm up as many points as what 505 will if they have a good game. So just something to think about.
Pulling to the south finger here of Launchpad. As you said, some important stakes there between 505 and ONIC if they do eventually come to blows on that southern side of the map.
Doesn't look like anybody south of ONIC though, right?
Into 505
They're
did
kind
allow
of free where they're out in
Puma,
that part of the map.
to at least reset to 2 members. Will it go any further than that? Kind of hard to say. They're actually going pretty well. It's only B left alive right now. He's going to have to use the black hole here. Will that manage to get all the members pulled into it? No, they might have broken it in time, I think. And that is a phenomenal fight win from Akuma. The 2v3
So 505 down.
out 5v5. And as you said, could potentially have a big impact on where some of these teams end up in the standings at the end of today.
Well, I think that's going to be quite disappointing for 505 as they were really in a position to nab second, and now that's, I would say, probably going to slip through their grasp.
I mean,
ONIC really just has to keep themselves alive for a couple
how
more
often
placement
do we
points,
see
or some
back-to-back
kill points here
games?
or there, and they should be able to hold on to it. So, opportunity gone missing. I would make the argument there for 505, but anyway, we'll see what Akuma can do as they still have to make their rotate in, and I think despite the fact that they've done such a good job of ruining 505's day, ONIC is probably not going to give them any mercy. Yeah, there you go.
Gone down straight away, but IBG will then pull up into ONIC. 3 red armors for them, but they've taken a little bit of damage pulling up towards them. ONIC, their armors are worse overall, but it might actually even
nice little angle here from Fussy.
Fight started. A couple of Seer ults and Cat ults going down, as we said before, the all-important combo for this season. ONIC doing a great job from the high ground here. They're going to pull down, and IBG, I think, once again, are going to suffer.
Yeah, it certainly looks like it. It's actually quite a clean wipe in the end there from ONIC. They didn't even lose a single player. Everyone was standing, and so they've got a bit of time now to reset. Moist is on their way.
Moist is on their way out there. I don't think they're going to get a full reset.
Yeah, you see that, the Catalyst wall, trying to get Moist involved in this.
Well, Waltzy is quite low, but it looks like they're quite keen to try and take this challenge, but I think ONIC are mostly reset Raki at about half shields, but
they won't know where to put that.
Yeah, I mean, I think they've just missed the
or
window
no, they
there
just used a Dark Veil, didn't they?
To have a clean, easy fight. Now they're going to have to do it the good old-fashioned way, and Waltzy drops early on in the piece. And that is going to give some extra confidence to ONIC to actually look to try and take this fight forward.
Which way is he going?
Trying to finish that knockoff, gets aggressive, goes down to the missile swarm. But ONIC have secured that kill, and they can get the res on Fussy and reset.
Oh, no.
Pricey's
still trying to play.
Back to chuck one last R9 clip into it to see if he could get anything done. Oh man, I guess Moist saw that as their path through to the next zone.
I mean, Moist has already been able to get.
Maybe we'll be able to get.
I mean, even if they don't, do they have any kills? I don't think they do, right?
The mechanics, the on-ground execution that really led to their downfall this time. So now Pricey left alone to try and wrap this one out. Perhaps the first game that Moist, are going to not make it into, what is it, the top 4 today? Kind of unreal stat that. Fate, after winning that early 2v3, by the way, have managed to make a nice little spot. You can see they're up the top there of this circle. So that unlikely scenario has actually netted them real benefits coming into the back end of this game, as we've got 5 squads left alive, and all of those ones having to pull out of Launchpad now, going to get into fights.
rotation coming through here from Jesco, and they run right into Truth. Maybe not the team that they wanted to get on top of. Jesco very low, Kizik's on the floor, and that is that.
Truth's out,
Popcorn down.
Popcorn's
Truth
out, Onyx
also
can be all
eliminated
rolling, take high
in
ground.
that mess. Really leaves the door open here for ONIC potentially. 20th guaranteed are kind of hiding in that corner as well. They're down to 2. You've got Fate, who are playing as a duo as well toward the southern side. They're completely out of this engagement, and if ONIC wins this clean, which they do, they now have a 3-on-2 in front of them. So you'd expect them to close that out.
They actually throw some thermites in. The thermites are ticking. They've both got red armor. If there's any time to push, it's now. They don't want ONIC to reset it all, and they'll come in for the final fight, even getting the first one.
Yeah, Fussy goes down, but there is a quick trade coming through from Raki. It's still going to end up being a 1-on-2 for Niantic. The Bangalore ulti goes down. Smoke's out here as well. I don't even know if there was maybe a thought of a raise in there somewhere, but he was standing
really
right
well
on top of the shield.
I don't think they can close the gap.
It does not matter
moist,
because ONIC is too strong.
but that
They'll
does
clean
get
it
them
up
to finish second.
and win the final game of the day. It's not going to be enough to get them into first place, I don't think, Genome, but it will definitely secure them for second.
Lovely finish there by ONIC. I mean, they had to hold off.
Chat, we've actually talked with
IBG.
Fussy over
There
here
were
not
a
too
lot
long
of
ago.
fights, so they had to win to make that happen in the end. You know, big shout out to Fate, honestly. The 2v3 at the start was solid, and the 2v3 that they almost pulled off against ONIC was fantastic there. So, look, it wasn't the greatest day from them. We were looking before. I think they were sitting at 4 points or something after 4 games, but, you know, with a nice second place and a couple of kills to go along with that here. They end up with 3 kills in the end. They will move a bit further up the scoreboard there. So Fate certainly getting their bearings still in the Pro League, but you know, as a duo, that's an incredible effort here in Game 6. Looking further along the kills in the scoreboard here, ONIC finished with 12. You know, it wasn't even like they were just picking them off slowly, Elfish. They were, you know, taking full-on team fights and winning solid 3v3s, and that, I think, says a lot about their quality and how good they are as a team.
Yeah, and it wasn't even as if it was against weaker teams. You know,
This is probably the best lobby that we're going to see in APAC South.
And
I
IBG,
think,
right? So in theory, 2 teams that
I
should
think
be
this
some
is
of the
probably the
best.
strongest
I
lobby.
don't think IBG has really come together today, but Moist definitely has, and obviously we know what IBG was able to do last season. So, yeah, they had to work hard to get through that game, ONIC, and it looked like they were going to take it easy. It looked like they were really just going to play that one passively, and I think that was what they were hoping to do, but it did start to ramp up toward the back end for them, and yeah, I mean, it feels like a long time ago that I was talking about 5-on-5 potentially taking second, because they were fragging out a little bit harder than ONIC was at one point, but yeah, obviously them breaks, and
yeah, I mean,
5-on-5
then that
didn't count on
changed.
I think they probably still do enough to hold on to third, though. I'm not sure that they would have been overtaken for that position, so probably still quite a good finish for them today, all things considered, but yeah, I mean, the top 2 teams that we expected to be the top 2 teams come in to today and also walk out of today in first and second, so
I mean,
kind of
what,
continues to
6th and
reinforce those
7th?
opinions.
Right?
It does. A better game for 20th guaranteed. You know, finishing up in third there, as we saw. They also picked up 5 kills.
All right, chat. I'm going to go ahead and get up on out of here, man. I'm going to give me a quick nap. Then we'll be back over here in 7.5 hours. And we'll be in here for the long haul. We got South America. Then we'll be doing EMEA. And then we'll have a small little break. And then we got NA tomorrow. So it's a long day. Bring your snacks. Your snickety snacks. Appreciate y'all who stayed up late to hang out with me tonight, man. I know these are some very odd hours compared to what I even know my analytics show most of our people are used to. So those y'all who came through, hung out, really appreciate y'all, man. We'll be back, like I said, here in about 7 hours, probably, is when we're going live, because things kick off. Let me double check this, but I'm pretty sure things kick off at 10 tomorrow. Yeah, 10 a.m. So we'll be kicking off here in literally about 7 hours. So I'm going to go crawl into bed, give me a nap, till we catch y'all back over here for the next one, man. Don't forget, with everything crazy going on in the world today, true, be you, be sincere, game hard and love hard. All right, y'all? It's your boy Q, signing out.